Hello.
There's Craig.
Welcome.
Hi, hi, Craig.
Good to see you, buddy. Um, Ink, we should start practicing the toss, like a little
Yes.
techno toss.
All right. Okay. So if I go, oh no, if I do here, then he'll be out of my reach. Okay. You toss to me.
Okay. Well, I will
Okay.
say for you guys, it's like Ink's on top, and then it's me, and then it's Matt's. So you can just like Brady Bunch drop Kekino down, and it would land
very
in
good.
Matt's
gosh.
screen for me.
I hate that it's all different.
I
Yeah.
know. You guys are
It
kitty
should be the
corner
same.
I'll
Yeah.
look for me.
Get him. He's
Alright, well-
coming. He's coming from above.
Matt, he's coming from above.
Bye.
Anyway, we'll work on it.
Mhm.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. Before we start, I just want to remind everyone that you're investigators now. So as much as they would like to, the sanctuary is probably not going to be jogging your elbow on your investigations and stuff. You have to choose to check in, and that is mostly a note for Mads and Metal. It's just, everybody's probably sitting at home being like, is everything okay? How's the investigation going? But they can't because it's your job. It's your job if you want to check in or not. I just want to remind you that nobody's going to be calling you and being like, hey, how's it going? It's all you.
Only applies to Metal. My ass is gonna get a call from Tinnitus being like, "Hello, Tinnitus. I heard you weren't doing necromancer things for a whole 20 minutes."
Yep. No, that's true. But that's because Tinnitus loves bothering you. Now, we have our expedition. Our new investigators for the sanctuary were sent out to the dig site of a Miss May Gladly, who, along with her assistant Sinner and her new assistant Kitsune, have been trying to explore this ruin of the ancients and have found some interesting things so far, but the most interesting of which was a sealed door that Kitsune was supposed to be the one to open. Our sanctuary crew was dispatched to help May with the dig, with the sort of secret mission that anything that was deemed dangerous or important to Mordital's ampule, this nuclear weapon that is gone missing, um, would be stolen essentially by you on behalf of the sanctuary, something May probably doesn't want. And at the same time, May received information from her patron that you were coming in a suspiciously short time frame after it was assigned to you, with instructions to that everything is supposed to go to them, and for you to not allow you to take anything. And so, with these two groups potentially at cross purposes, you all joined up in the dig site, got the lay of the land, got some nice introductions. Turns out that Sinner is someone from Isles past that they knew, and Kitsune was the person that Fish had been told to look up by Elder Longfisher. All arrived, explored the part of the ruins, and something made Kitsune believe that Fish would be able to open the door in his stead, and so negotiated with Fish to not do that in exchange for part of the pay, and instead they opened it together, experiencing some sort of communion of the powers at the same time. Seemingly wherever Kitsune gets their magic is also related to where Fish gets their magic. So, um, some mysteries there. Open the door to the ruins to find a rather pristine room with an interesting sort of activation thing at the entrance. As soon as May's stepping in, the lights turning on, things starting to activate and spin up. But decided that that was a larger adventure, one that needed to be prepared for in this expedition. And so you decided to close the doors, fish sealing them so that only certain people could get through without the password, and preparing for your expedition. At the same time, you saw that Kitsune was not necessarily someone who could be trusted to keep his hands to himself if he was around valuable items. And so it became a little bit of a concern that Kitsune specifically not be allowed past this door for the time being. And so we open on all of you having walked out of the caves, May having, other people she needs to supervise, not really a lot done in the camp without her or Sinner directly looking over people's shoulders, as well as a expedition to prepare for, and the rest of you needing to finish setting up your little campsite as the sun sinks close to the horizon, and it will be dark in the not too distant future.
Where is Kitsune at this moment?
Give me a perception check.
Mhm. 8. Fish can't see.
Fish can't see. You got an 8.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, with an 8, you don't see him obviously around. As you exit, he exits with you and uh, seems to distract some workers with a new game of dice near the entrance. And then for the rest of kind of that early evening, you don't really see him anymore. Maybe he's in his tent, maybe he's around, maybe he's off to some mischief. Just know it's not like easy to see.
Mm.
What's everybody else working on for their early evening?
I think May would be probably finishing up a brief to I guess, like the third in command, because I imagine there'd be a couple of disparate groups that would have bosses or, like, people that May delegates to.
The the structure is essentially uh, a bunch of people who are completely incompetent. One person who is at least you can give instructions to and know that as long as the instructions are not too complicated, it will probably be followed in your absence. Sinner may. So that's sort of your order of operations here. There is one guy who, with very simple instructions, most of which will probably be don't touch anything fragile, could be told to kind of keep things running in your absence.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
understand that as soon as you leave, the efficiency will certainly go down by a large degree.
that's all right. Yeah, so May's like just finishing up telling him to, I guess, like keep on. Actually, no. May tells him to prepare, like, I guess, storage for what they're potentially going to bring out, like safe storage. I'm going to be very specific here. Safe, protected storage for the items they're hopefully going to bring out when they go in, and also briefing him on watching Kitsune, and just if he's doing anything suspicious to, I don't know, come to the door and like yell really loud into the door, but not cross through the door, and hopefully we'll hear it.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. And while you're working on that, getting that all set up, a little bit after dinner, you hear a little scratch at the tent flap, the equivalent of a knock when you're in camp. And Sinner is outside, just kind of poking his head in. Hey, boss, you got a minute to talk?
May looks up from her very thick, very complex book and goes, "Yes, of course, then I come in. What can I do for you?"
He comes in. He is kind of taking a glance around. You can see him making sure this is a private conversation. Nobody else is too close to the tent and so on. Um, and then he says, "Well, first thing I've been keeping an eye on Kitsune. He's definitely been sniffing around the door, but it does seem like he can't get in. So that's positive, I guess. Um, the other thing is, I know that you would prefer if I stayed here and kind of kept things running in your absence, but I want to ask to come with you. I've I'm a little concerned. There's, four of them and only one of you, and if one of them decides to take something, and he just kind of like very softly kind of like pulls on his sending earring to kind of reference the instructions from your patron. I worry that if things get a little violent, just be you in there with a lot of them.
Oh, Sinner, you're worried about me. You don't trust me to take care of myself? And then May does the classic pulls the coat, gestures to the enormous revolver holstered.
I I haven't known you that long, boss, but I do know you can take care of yourself. Still a
Goddamn right I can, Sinner.
little extra muscle never hurt anyone, you know?
May pauses. Can I roll for insight?
Yeah, go for it.
That is a 21.
With a 21, let's see how deceptive he's being about his true feelings.
Yeah.
Well, he rolled really low and his stat is worse. Kind of not deceptive at all. Um, with a 21, you really get two things from Sinner. You get a certain amount of like professionalism and kind of professional pride. You don't know that much about Sinner's background, other than he seems to have been kind of a rough customer. Um, if he knew this random woman Isle and was like, "Oh yeah, parents are bad criminals," it's like, well, why do you know that?
Yeah.
Um, um, so there's a certain amount of like professionalism and pride there of kind of being like, my job is not just to be your assistant; it's to also uh,
Beat the shit out
obey
of you
these
before me.
orders
Yeah.
and help you and protect you and fight on your behalf and so on and so forth. And as part of that, there's like a little bit of a pride thing about like, if things go wrong and I'm not there to help solve it, it's still my problem, even though I still get the blame and kind of the blow to whatever reputation I have, um, even if I'm not there because I
Mm.
wasn't there. But the second thing you get is a little bit more of a personal kind of, anything could happen to you in there, and maybe a gun's not going to solve every problem. Not I'd say worry in thinking that you would be too weak to meet challenges,
Mm.
but this kind of like, the kind of anxiety of like, if I'm not there to witness, something could go horribly wrong,
Is there
and
anything about the
maybe I'll be able
patron?
to
Can
help.
I tell if he's worried about the patron as well?
There is a little bit of like in that professionalism
Yeah.
of
Okay.
being like, I've been hired by the patron to kind of like do this, we're on the same team to like accomplish this job. So there is kind of this mix of like
Mhm.
professionalism and personal like concern for your safety and your
Okay.
well-being.
Um.
It I don't think with a 21 and what he rolled, you get any like fear of like what's gonna happen if like this isn't accomplished with the patron necessarily. And so I think with that 21, you get kind of the sense of like, in the same way that to you the patron is just like a kind of voice on the phone who gives you money, Sinner probably doesn't know him or her any better than you do. Like there's nothing like personal there.
Okay. May takes a second and looks at Cinna, and upon seeing that mix of professional and personal interest, is somewhat touched. And I think has to recognize that there's a lot at stake here, and she has been expressly told that she can't let these guys steal anything, which I think May, with a reasonable level of intelligence, can extrapolate that they are going to try to steal something. And I think it also kind of dampens like the excitement still and gratitude that she feels towards the game, particularly fish, and like brings her a bit back down to earth. And she closes her book and looks at Cinna very seriously and says, earlier I asked you to keep an eye on them. Have you noticed any of them doing anything odd or saying anything odd or behaving odd? We never got the chance to talk about what your whole deal with the tall one was. Isle, I believe her name is. Did you want to tell me a little bit about that, or is that more on the personal side and not something I need to worry about?
Well, my experience was sometimes the personal and the professional mix just a little bit. I don't think I need to get into my past, just what I know about Isle and her family. You know, her family are some pretty rough people. Um, a lot of killings, a lot of stealings, a lot of well, mercenary work for the most part. Same thing I kind of do, I guess. But
Well, the difference is, Cinna, that I trust you. Do I think? Do we need to be worried at the moment that Isle is going to particularly be a trouble to us?
when I knew her, Isle was always the softest one of them. You know, they seem to kind of enjoy the violence. And she never did. But that was, God, 40, 50 years ago. People
Things do
change.
change.
Yeah.
All right. But none of them have been doing anything that you would think is alarming?
Nothing alarming. Certainly weird.
Yes, well, they do
They
have a talking seal, Cinna.
Yes, they do have a talking seal. In fact, they were throwing the seal back and forth, some sort of catching game between the tall one, Isle, and Fish, the one with the tattoos. Um, yeah, the one and all black doesn't use the latrines. She just kind of like walked off into the woods, I guess, to get away from everybody. Um, you know, odd things. I don't think anything concerning.
I don't know. I think a woman not needing to piss is a little bit concerning, Cinna, but that's her business.
I mean, I assume she is pissing, but it's just like, hey, there's this camp, and then we got a little distance, and then there's the latrines, which are, fairly private, but people can kind of see you there a little bit. And then it's like, no, I want to fuck off like another 70, 80 feet into the woods.
May just doesn't. May is just kind of like, and very clearly struggling not to laugh, but she's also like, but I am the employer. I need to have some measure of professionalism. And she goes, well, if you do see her pissing, let me know, because I'm quite interested to see if we need to pack more water for her.
I mean, there was this one guy I knew, kind of
Keep talking, Sinna.
back in the day,
I only
my old
want to
life.
hear about this man's
Okay,
pissing.
I told you, yeah, just like water elementalist just kind of like sucks it up into the body. Doesn't for like 3 months while he's on campaign. It's crazy.
Mm,
But yeah, I'll keep an eye on them.
okay. Sorry, I need a second. I'm so distracted by this deep, very pleasant lore. Okay. May kind of like waves us away as like, yes, this is a funny little diversion. And then says to Sinner, well, if you're not going to be outside to keep an eye on things, I've had to give everything to what's his name? You know the man. The one who's vaguely competent out of the rest of them.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, I know.
Carlson
Well,
is vaguely competent.
Mainly I told him not to break anything and to prepare some boxes, and that's really all we can hope for.
Yeah.
But I do think it's wise, and I will float this to the Sanctuary crew, that we should close the door behind us so Kitsune can't get in, because frankly, I do not trust him, and as we know now, this fish can open these doors by themselves, so I don't see any need to have him malingering, as it were.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened with that, but it did seem like Fish was certainly, in the mix there, able to open it. So it seems like a good plan. Uh, well, if that's all, I will say, this group is armed. Not that that's particularly surprising for people working on behalf of the sanctuary. I did find 2 sticks of dynamite and a very small handgun in their belongings, but nothing else too concerning. I feel like if this was intended to be, an ambush of some kind, they'd be a little bit heavier armed.
Yes, I rather think they would have done it by now if they were going to ambush us. Well, this all sounds really.
Hey, listen, he was looking for suspicious stuff, and Cal was like, I am too self-conscious to go to the bathroom. Anyone can even think about me having bodily functions, and I am just fucking off forever.
I'm just saying, not a great look for this guy for being huge, patronizing, calling her pet names, and noticing and trying to figure out when she's peeing.
I genuinely imagine it was a kind of thing of like, okay, are they doing anything suspicious? One of them is just wandering off, like sneaking away from everyone else, maybe to have some kind of rendezvous. Maybe there's like a backup team we don't know about.
No,
They
to
have
just
some
pop
like
in a squat.
sides hanging in the woods. Oh, no, she's literally too self-conscious to pee in front of people. Okay.
Okay, but then he had to have kept his eyes on the latrines to make sure she never went there. You can't twist this. This man is a predator.
You've been here for like 4 hours, okay? You probably only peed once. It only happened the once.
You cannot do this, Patrick. No, can it?
He sniffs the air and he's like, everyone's peed but her.
God.
Even the seal, and the seal doesn't need to.
he just did it for fun.
Wanted to feel included.
Jesus.
Okay, alright. Can't remember where we left off. We had confirmed that they had dynamite in hands. Okay. May says to Sinner, well, it sounds like we're on the same page, which is to keep an eye on them for now. I've packed the usual standard of things. I think you should too. I'll speak to the rest of the group shortly and let them know what I think they should bring on this sort of excursion, because I highly doubt they've done this sort of thing before. And then she says, and she like very clearly looks at Sinner's earring and says to him, have you heard anything else from our mutual acquaintance? And I want to roll a insight check for this as well.
No,
It's a 17, Patrick.
I reported when they arrived, and that was it. Nothing in return.
And what does a 17 get me as to whether that's the truth or not?
You get not only that is the truth, but it's like slightly concerning to him that there wasn't like follow-up orders.
Okay.
But yeah, you think he is telling the truth as far as it goes, that he hasn't received any other orders. With a 17 and his natural 2, which is reduced to a 1, I
He's
would
not the
say
smartest, is he?
the most charismatic. um, um, to a 1. You get the kind of sense that a little bit of his response is, I haven't gotten new orders in this specific time period you're asking about. There's a little flash of guilt as if he got orders that you haven't. It just wasn't recently.
Okay. I think May's gonna not touch on that for now. And then says, well, go on. You should go have some dinner and get well rested. Tomorrow's going to be quite a big day, and I want you in full punching power for whatever may happen.
He just kind of like flexes his hands up and the gauntlets come up and he
The
goes,
shirt rips.
always ready for full punching power, boss.
How about, has May seen these before?
No.
Can I roll? What is it to check magic? Just like literally.
I'd say Arcana.
Yeah, okay. And that is a 12.
With a 12, they are kind of magic, especially with your expertise. It does seem to be like the magic is that they kind of fold and unfold very cleanly. You know, when you have a complicated mechanical device, getting it to like sit properly on hands, which are, by necessity kind of wiggly and move a lot and stuff. You need a little bit of magical help to kind of get that all working properly. But as you see kind of the gleam of magic and a few small symbols on it, you don't think that the gauntlets kind of like do anything, that they are just, that the magic is kind of like having them hide away and come out.
Okay, cool. Which May is fascinated by. She goes, I'll have to talk to you about those later as an arcanist. An artificer. I'm very, very interested in how those work and who would have made them. But I need to return to my book, and you need to eat, etc., etc. So off you go. She goes like that, and then turns back to her book. But she gives him a charming smile while she does it, so it's clear she's not being a bitch about it.
You got it, boss. Yeah, I'll make sure we've got, food and supplies. Get together what we need. Have a good night.
Nice enough.
And yeah, you got a 17 and he got a 1. So I will say, as you give him the charming smile and leave, you just see like a little bit of like I like her. Like definitely like that's not a big, even since that's not what you were looking for, and it's not a big enough difference to be like, oh, Sinner's got a crush on May. Sinner, at the very least, thinks that May is probably the best boss he's ever had. There's something about just like giving him respect. That's
The
really,
novelty,
really
I'm sure.
for him.
That's really nice. Fish would like to have a word with May.
Were you like trying to loom around during this conversation, or were you?
They were like outside the tent with Kekano. They're like, I just saw the big guy go in. I'll let them have their moment.
Oh, okay. Because he was actively looking to see if people were around, like close enough to hear for this private conversation.
Okay, they weren't that close.
Fish had that moment where they like peered out behind the pole, and then like Cinna looked around. They're like back against the side, movie style. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm saying if you want to like roll stealth to not be seen, you absolutely can.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say that they were not near enough.
Okay.
For it to be like, don't listen in on our conversation. I'm fucking not. But I'm next. When Seneca leaves, Fishwood just goes into May's tent like, knock knock on door that isn't there.
And May has like only just opened her book, and then she closes it again, and she's mildly exasperated, but she has time when she sees it's Fish. like beckons them in.
Hi, Miss Gladley. Can I call you May? I'm gonna call you May.
You may.
Thank you. You can just call me Fish. That's the only name I have, unless I make another one up. And again, Kekano. So I just helped open up your door.
You did.
I did.
Mm.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I was really like you needed me.
Mm. Okay.
Kitsune, I talked to that guy. He's a you are not getting any work out of that guy. It's much better that you've got me here, me and my friends, of course.
Mm.
Anyway, I was thinking, did I tell you how much I love your tattoos? That maybe in return for me being so useful, you could teach me a little bit more about symbol stuff, since you seem to know a whole lot about that.
May kind of goes. She always has time for a fellow scholar, 100%. She goes, well, yes, of course. Well, where would you like to start?
I don't know if you remember this, but earlier when we were down in the hall, Cleric Denier said that I'm an amateur. Well, an amateur is defined by their, their passion and enthusiasm for the craft, even if they're not very good at it. Literally, what's lesson one?
Patrick, do you mind if I just like summarize rather than actually just in character, because can't really think of anything off the top of my head specifically.
Hello? Okay, there it goes.
Yep.
I forget which side of my Switch is mute and which isn't. Yeah, no, any conversation you don't want to do like a full role play on, you can just be like, I give this information. Like you
Yeah,
don't
sure.
even have to describe it
And
verbally.
can I would like to make my symbol magic roll better than -3, please.
We shall see. I want you to give me a symbol roll, and I want May to give me a symbol roll.
Just D20, yeah?
Yep, D20, and you're gonna add a +4, I believe. No, +3.
I'm so sorry, it's a 5. May's
You rolled a
tired, I
5?
guess.
You rolled a 5? I
Yeah.
also rolled a fucking 5! Girl, how are we doing it?
May's really tired. She's feeling it, but she's also like, oh fuck, I can't remember anything.
No, that's valid. And Fish isn't mad about that. If they can clock it, they'll be like, no, it's fine, I get it.
Yeah, there's also probably a little bit of like, you did get some training with Gof and even though and from Cal's book, and even though
But it's completely different. She's a professional.
yeah, even though it's not professional instruction, you're like start from the beginning, and she's like okay, and then you find like oh that's interesting, but kind of go over some other stuff you already know, and then some things like that. Yeah, you don't it's some interesting tidbits, but nothing that kind of expands your knowledge of the field. At least this time, I will say, kind of regular lessons will, regardless of rolling, increase that.
Yeah, May was feeling out just what the baseline knowledge the Fish has is. Yeah.
Okay.
And what you get is like there are some fundamentals that are just not there at all, and there are some things that Fish seems to be doing entirely by raw talent and instinct that like no one should ever be safely doing without knowing these fundamentals.
Can May at least offer okay. So they have this unconstructive impromptu lesson. At the end of it, when May sees maybe that Fish is kind of like thankful but disappointed, I guess at the same time. That's the vibe I'm getting. Is that fair, Ink?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're just kind of looking at it like, I'm much better at this usually.
So's May, so it's just good. May, like, I'm imagining that May's like drawn all this stuff out, and Fish is like,
And they're
yeah,
looking at it like,
yes.
Dad, I recognize that symbol.
Yeah, what does it mean?
This is the one that you said means symbol. And you're looking at it's just like the English word on the top of the notes.
Oh, thanks.
I helped.
Yeah, yeah, you did. Listen, May, sorry about that. Another time. Let's, get further into your fucking locked tomb or whatever it's called. Your big ruin that you want to see. Do you think it's going to be like a pyramid or like a pyramid that's underground? Whatever. It'll be great. We'll do it. It'll be fun. I'm leaving now. Goodbye.
Can May reach out and like very respectfully and lightfully like put her hand on Fish's shoulder? If
Sure.
Fish is, yeah.
They'll stop.
And says to Fish, "Look, I'm really sorry, Fish. I'm quite tired. I'm disguising it quite well, but I understand what it's like to come to a new subject with very little known about it, and it's something very difficult to get a formalized education is like what I've known. I've largely cobbled together myself over the years. I know we've only just met, but I really admire how enthusiastic you are about this. And if we have time later, or even if we see anything while we're down in the tomb exploring, I would love to have the opportunity to talk more with you about it." And gives her a very like warm smile.
Fish smiles back and says, "You can have, you can pet Kekano whenever you like."
And May goes, as she reaches out and sees Kekme, the pet of someone who has never had a pet. The awkward,
Yes.
like, they want to, but they don't really know what's going on. She does that and is very pleased.
It's a good start. You teach me the symbols, I'll teach you to pet my boy.
Sounds excellent. When you go back out to the rest of your when you go out to the rest of your group, can you let them know that if we have time tonight or before we set off tomorrow morning, I need to just speak with them about what to expect down there, what they should be bringing along, and so forth. I just want to make sure that we're all prepared.
Okay, I'll tell Metal. She's the leader.
Perfect. Thank you very much,
Yes.
Fish.
Yeah. See you, May.
Heading on off. Anything
And Fish,
anybody else?
Fish tells Metal that it's like, hey, we're gonna. Yep.
We're gonna have a meeting. Anything else anyone wants to do tonight? Kind of setting up your camp, checking over your stuff.
I want to set up. I want to do the connecting of the sending stones thing.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something.
Give me a proficient tools roll, Tinker's tools. So that would be a +3 to whatever the D20 is, and I'll just tell the amount of time it takes.
That's a 5. She's
Wow.
all through the night.
This is a rather basic thing to attempt for one such as you. I think it's genuinely just keep getting distracted with planning for the expedition and for these other things. Just being like, oh, that's right. I gotta make sure that we've got enough rope, and then just kind of like walk away, and then I was working on something.
ADHD,
and
cool. Love it.
yeah, it does take a total of about 3 hours. Of that, only like maybe 10 to 15 minutes was actually working on this. But yeah, you get them all linked up. You've got now, I believe, 4 sending stones that are all connected to each other.
And while I'm also at it, I want to attune to my artificial mind so that it's ready for the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. What is your
I've been
artificial
talking
mind
to you
look
about
like?
this. I was thinking it would be really cool if it's some sort of small little like clockwork animal, but in this case, I was thinking it'd be like a clockwork sphinx.
Oh. You make sure that no one is around, and you pull out a little thing that you picked up, that you found in a tomb on the Upper Nile. Certainly the most interesting thing, something that you really thought would put you on the map, although it's sort of defied a lot of your exploration so far and turns out to not be super relevant to your field of study. there is a very small Sphinx statue you take out of a pouch and set down. And as you run your fingers along it, almost like a pet, but it's more of an activation of a little button, it and starts moving just a little bit jerky, just this tiny little kind of animated animal. And as it looks up to you, you hear sort of a little moment of connection as the Sphinx's eyes go blue, and it just kind of connects to you and recognizes you as its owner. And while it looks like a Sphinx from the outside, it is sort of this, as far as you can tell, repository of magic and information. And you can store memories and information in it. You've had it occasionally kind of scan a book that you found was really important to reference, but you didn't want to bring with you, and the almost as if reading it again, the Sphinx can sort of send it into your mind.
So I'm hoping that while May has a little sleep, she gets the artificial mind to scan all like the notes she's made about the tomb and things to expect there. Which you can obviously decide what that actually is, Patrick, but I just want the potential.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Particularly if she's got any ideas of what the layout could be, that would be really helpful.
She is going over your notes, and you kind of leave her to it. A little bit of kind of a click and a whir in the background as you continue your other work, and then eventually sit down to sleep. And if this has followed the form it usually does when you work with a cat, she doesn't really have like a personality necessarily. She's this kind of animated object, but she does seem to come to, it feels like opinions, but it's really just kind of the analysis of information that you give to her. And so historically that when you get up the next morning, probably going to be an opinion on the layout, as well as some things that may happen going forward waiting for you.
Perfect.
All right. Anything anyone else wants to do before we move to the next morning?
I think Metal is like taking charge of like putting the camp together and like the tent together and whatever, and then is maybe not very good at it. So Isle is probably like, "Hey, girl, you got to put that up there," or something like that. But at some point,
She's
she
like, when
will.
she's trying to be supportive, she's like whispering, she's like walking by, like, don't do that.
She's like, "Corner, put that in the corner. That stick goes there." And then once she gets that together, she will call the sanctuary and check in and be like, the teleporter thing didn't work. We had to walk. This is where we've been. We made it. We're about to go into this spooky tomb. Yeah.
Give me an investigation check first.
You should get advantage on investigation because we're investigators.
Not how that works.
Don't worry, I
Sorry.
rolled good. Hold on. It's 17.
Okay. With a 17, you don't have any concrete evidence, but as you're getting your stuff together, shaking out the camp supplies, getting the sleeping bag and everything, you do notice with a 17 that your stuff is not exactly where it was. You just get this little sense of being like, I think with a 17 you can't even necessarily clock what's different and kind of what's been moved, but you do know that it's possible someone has gone through your stuff.
Noted. I think she'll mention that to Isle and whoever is around. But yes.
When you call the sanctuary, you get a hold of um, Agent Hedge, who was your handling agent from when you were an agent, from just a just for your very short amount of time. But it seems like, other than directly consulting with kind of someone on the Council of Elders or Tone, this is kind of the go through. So if you had something really important, they could just directly connect you to Tone. It's not the same like faffing around you had as an agent. But if it's just a regular update, you'll go through Agent Hedge. And he sounds kind of annoyed, and he's just like, God, I knew this would happen. Fucking teleporters. Fucking
Oh,
teleporters, I'm telling you. All right.
Yeah,
I
no comment, but yeah.
I gotta say, Detective Vaunt, Tone was asking some questions about why you hadn't checked in yet, and well, I mean, I shouldn't get into sanctuary politics, but apparently he had a call with the teleporters union, something about not telling us that you didn't make it.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I'm so sorry I didn't check in earlier, but we got dropped off. We were, hiking. It was a whole mess, but don't worry, we're all good now. But yes, it was a bit of a mess.
Yeah, no, I mean, nothing that's your fault. I just get the sense that the council's pretty pissed off at the teleporters right now, and they don't need that on their plate when they got other emergencies to worry about. But hey, glad to hear you're all right.
Yep. And then yeah, she'll just say like we met May, like we found this door thing, we're gonna go into it tomorrow. And just the general update. Also, if she can have looked around before she made this call and just like generally like make sure nobody's outside listening, she would have done that.
Give me
But yeah.
a perception check.
Yeah. And I get advantage because this is
You
favored
do.
terrain.
Yes, you do.
But yes, she would have made this call after seeing her stuff was rifled through, so she's more thoughtful now. 17.
17. With a 17, you are looking around. You can see the others kind of setting up their own stuff. May seems to be finishing up some last minute work. And you see Kitsune kind of on the other side of the camp. He seems to just be whittling. He's just got like a little stick and he's carving it. He sees you looking at him and it's like,
I'm like,
goes back to what he's doing. Doesn't seem close enough to hear you, so long as you're not yelling. But yeah,
yeah,
you don't
just
notice anyone kind of sneaking in any way.
just yeah, speaking quietly, just poking her head out the tent door, like on the phone.
Do you
Closes it.
mention Sinner's name at all when you are giving this kind of brief report?
Yes, I think she would describe May and Sinner, and probably Kitsune just a little bit because he's shady.
Okay. Well, I got some info here. May gladly, pretty well respected. Seems like she's got some contacts in the English sanctuary, African sanctuary, Egyptian sanctuary. Um,
Hey guys.
wow, wow, guys. All right. Um, but it seems like, oh yeah, May's pretty well respected. May checks out. Uh with Sinner and Kitsune, Hedge is just like, Kitsune's name sounds familiar. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll check the records and get back to you. I think he might be in our records for, maybe some petty crime or something like that. Uh, Sinner Drum though, he's well, it looks like he doesn't have any active warrants, so that's good. A lot that was kind of forgiven after the war, some amnesty stuff.
Oh goodness.
A lot of people not pressing charges afterwards, looks like. Yeah, maybe be careful with that one.
I was like, oh, okay. Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, it just seems like kind of a dangerous fella, one of those just kind of minor criminal types.
Got it.
See
Okay.
a lot of assault, attempted assault, breaking and entering.
Okay, great. So I'll be checking in with you. Metal's like, I'm gonna check in 12 hours, and then I'll go from there. But
Yeah,
that's
okay.
if you don't
You
hear
got
from
it.
me, maybe we died. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I'd rather not deliver that news.
For sure.
Especially since you're brand new, and I think the council will be really upset.
Yeah, no, not
So
that I
try
think
not
that's gonna
to.
happen. Nope,
Okay.
nope. Yep, everything's fine.
I
I'm
mean,
just
do your
saying.
best. If you
For
die, you
sure.
die,
Okay.
but do what you can.
Yep, got it. Okay, well, I gotta go.
Yep. Bye, Detective Vaunt.
Thank you.
Were
And
you
she hangs up.
speaking loudly enough that Cal sitting close by to you would hear that?
If Cal was there, I wouldn't mind if Cal heard. Yeah.
Yeah. What did they say about Sinner?
She's like, well, they were saying he's not like super great. He's got like a lot of crime, like a history of crime and like
Knew
and
it.
stuff. So yeah, she's like kind of a criminal, maybe not safe to be around. So just like be careful. And
You tried
also,
to follow me into the forest.
Stay away from
That is
that
like,
man.
no, that's terrible news. Also, be careful because I think they're going through our stuff. I think they're going through
Oh
our
yeah,
stuff.
you can put it. I told you to put something in the trunk. He's sitting on the trunk, by the way. Patrick, if you let me, I'll say she noticed it moved 2 inches, and she's like, "Not these motherfuckers trying to get to my shit."
Actually, give me an investigation check.
Okay, I do have a +6 to that, so I'm feeling fairly confident. Yeah, so that was that's +6 to 18, so that's a total 24.
With a 24, it does not look like anyone has kind of messed with your trunk. Lock's still good, everything's still where you left it, shadows are still in place. You do notice when you really get down and look on the side, there are some little kind of gouges in the wood around one of your shadows, as if someone tried to like take a knife and kind of like cut it off the wood or kind of like gouge it up to get more access, and pretty quickly gave up. And with a 24, I think you know the limitations of your own magic, and you know that Sinner is a really big guy. If he wanted to, he could probably pull hard enough to break your shadows and just undo that kind of locking. Uh, this is a little more subtle, and also with a 24, you haven't seen Sinner carrying a knife. Not that he doesn't have one, but that he doesn't seem to be openly carrying one.
I pretend I didn't already have this conversation with Patrick. Yes, interesting.
Suspicious.
I'm gonna make a terrible joke. Cal thinks Thinner can get to my underwear.
Oh god.
Pissmaster strikes again.
You did this to yourself, Patrick.
I didn't, though.
You did.
I was like, what's something that seems suspicious and turns out to not be suspicious? Cal having anxiety issues.
She has so much anxiety, you don't have to do pee anxiety. Anyways, Cal, when she notices, started just sitting on her trunk. So she's just been alternating, like, writing stuff and, like, reading through her notes. Specifically looking for stuff on dead, undead, ghosts, ghouls, zombies.
Yeah. You have a lot of kind of general reference information on kind of ghosts and ghouls and such, and because you just had this death sense where you felt something kind of weird in the ether when you really stretched out, I say give me a Arcana check with disadvantage.
While Mooney's doing that, don't forget, Mooney, that May said that she would give Cal her notes.
Yeah,
on the
I was
secrets.
thinking that too. We'll say that's a 14.
Okay. With a 14, you know, it was really on the edge of your kind of range of what you can feel. You are confident that if you were closer or the effect was stronger, you'd be like, I know exactly what that is. I'm Collision Stenier. I do my research. But the fact that whatever this is a little weird and it was rather far away, you had to really stretch yourself to sense it. You can't be entirely sure what it is, but it does remind you of a little bit. It's not really the same, but it is reminiscent of the Ice Hearts in the Clanlands. Just a little bit feeling of like some kind of soul attachment or soul binding of some kind. You can say with a 14 pretty conclusively, not a ghost in the traditional sense. Feel like zombies and such, you would have gotten a little bit of a stronger, a little stronger necromantic reading, and you did sense bones, but the bones and these kind of traces weren't in the same place, so you don't think it's you know a kind of animated skeleton or something like that. But yeah, that's what you get.
Cal sighs, fishes out all of her fucked up dead things, notebooks that she's taken with her, and I think even probably like rips out some pages, stitches them into a new smaller notebook so she just has a pocket one for reference for tomorrow, and then goes back to drafting her will.
Who gets all of your shit?
Well, I mean, I have opinions on that, but if nobody's asking her what she's writing, she's not sharing it.
Wow.
Uh,
Denier's last wishes is what the notebook page's title.
Oh my god.
Vanna, did Isle tell Fish about the brief interaction she had with Cal, where it was like where she found out that she had a dead sister?
I'll be a
I think
homie.
probably.
What?
Well,
I'll never
okay,
tell anyone
I
my
don't know.
backstory ever. I would like to privately tell you about something very emotionally important to me.
No.
Let me tell my boyfriend.
No, okay. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
It's okay if the answer's
Vienna,
no, but they're just
Vienna, you can do whatever you want. I will say, Cal did say that, expecting that Isle is so private, she would not share it. She would not say that if she thought it was going to get back to Paige. You can make the choice of being like,
honestly, yeah.
Isle is on a love high, and it's just like, also I can tell you, but
no, I mean,
There's
I think Isle
drama.
would. No, I
well, she
think
tries to do that, but like her hand gets stuck in her hair because it's gross.
Mhm. She does that hair flip, and it just like the fingers fully stick into a knot.
Yeah.
It's just like,
yeah. No, I think that yeah, don't think Isle would tell Fish immediately. They might tell them at some point, but I don't think it would be on the docket for coming up. I don't think they would have talked about it right now. I think if they were
Yeah.
talking about anything with Fish, they'd be asking about Kitsune because they'd be like, "What the like? Something is up with that guy." Yeah, but I don't think she would have told Fish yet.
Likewise, let's like on the subject of things that they haven't told each other. Fish has never mentioned their visions of
Yeah.
their visions to Isle.
Yeah.
So it's just like I know that
Isle definitely knows that Fish sometimes does not sleep well, and sometimes seems to be kind of like shaking a little bit and perhaps talking to someone who isn't there. But that is like visions, just nightmares. Who knows?
yeah. So it's like, hey, that guy's super fucked up, and she's probably saying like, I agree, but what's your evidence? The vibes.
Oh, I don't. I mean, honestly, I think she would just read the vibe, like that there are vibes. Like I'm assuming
Yeah.
Fish would have some sort of reaction to be like, all right, yeah. So yeah. So
Yeah.
they're just
Isle, the vibes are off.
The vibes are off.
Yes.
Stay away from him.
I need to see what his vibes are, though.
I saw them already.
Go
It's
vibe
fine.
check.
Okay, you saw the vibes?
I saw the vibes. They're bad.
Okay. Okay, good. Rancid vibes.
Hmm.
Dad, are we going on an adventure tomorrow?
Yes, we are. I'm not.
That's exciting.
I'd
Do we
like for
have
you to
new friends?
come, but I don't want you to get into trouble. So how about you just stick with me, and if you're not sticking with me, Isle, and if not Isle, Denier, and if not Denier, Metal. I think that's everyone covered.
What about me?
Oh, May too, yeah. And if she wants to pet you, well, I mean, like, if you don't want to be pet, don't let her pet you.
Yeah.
Because, like,
It is my body, and I have body autonomy. I decide when petting is okay.
yes, you do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Elle doesn't say this, but she's like, and no one can call you demeaning names.
Dad,
yes.
I don't usually get into trouble. You get into trouble. But don't worry, and he puts his little flipper on you. I will always help and protect.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you too, Dad. Io, do you want to play catch with me?
Oh yeah, go play catch. Go do that.
Io, throw me to my dad. Dad, throw me back.
Fish turns away for 1 second and goes, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that was too hard.
Checking, are you
Hey.
okay?
Yeah, yeah, he's fine. I'm gonna do some cute shit. Do you want to do some cute shit with me? Say yes.
I'll allow it. All right, fine.
Okay. Go kiss Isle.
Oh my god. Metal, would you like to go for a walk?
Metal's like, okay. But she's also like blushing hardcore.
Out of here.
Girl
Kekano
time.
gets a disadvantage on climbing, so he runs up and tries to climb your leg. Instantly falls down, and then on the ground is like, "I'll pick me up, pick me up, pick me up, pick me up, pick me up."
Are they
That's from
gonna
Dad.
keep up this energy forever? I don't know how much more I can take this. It
Metal's
tends
like,
to peter off, doesn't it? Like
I
it
think
doesn't.
it's cute.
This is out of our range of hearing,
It's,
right?
yeah, I mean, it's better than what it was before, but in other ways it is worse. Ugh. I don't know. Most people seem to, be very infatuated, and then they are no longer infatuated, and then I don't have to witness any of this. Ugh.
Metal's like, I think they're happy. I'm so excited.
I
But it
mean,
is a
they
little
are
gross.
happy, and they are happy, and I am grateful for it. But again, better than the alternative. But I don't want to see it. Maybe we should get our own tent, or maybe that's encouraging bad behavior. I don't know.
We'll be in between.
I love you, Isle. That's from me, not from Dad.
I love you too, Kaki.
Yeah. And I
Right now she says, "Okay, go kiss your dad." Shoots him like a basketball.
Oh,
bullshit.
you keep doing
Oh.
that.
Just gonna die.
Isle, you gotta yell heads up.
I'm not paying attention. I'm looking at things.
Dad, I have things. I have things for
Yeah.
you to look at.
Yeah.
It's my little snoot kissing you on the cheek. Mwah! That's from Isle.
Thanks,
And
Al.
I imagine this continues for a little while as we wind down the evening and come to the next morning. Sort of bright and early. Uh, Sort of bright and early. The camp is just starting to get a little bit active as you start putting together any things that you think you need from this expedition, and then May wanted to talk to you all.
So I imagine that May is very much an early riser, which I'm sure will be to the thrill of the rest of the group. And the moment it hits like 7 o'clock on the dot, she's like, looks at her watch, all right, 7 o'clock, and we need to get this shit sorted. And like basically goes down the row of tents. So go on.
When you get up at 7 o'clock,
I don't know, May's
you
been up way earlier.
okay. When you are out there, like ass crack of morning, the sun is just cresting the horizon. You see Caligulus, a little lamp coming from Cal's tent.
So we need to stop talking about Cal's pee. I'm coming up with a new safety rule.
No, hun, we're not talking about pee. You have established in every other time we have had a morning that Cal wakes up at like 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm. You weren't going to talk about her peeing?
No! I wasn't talking about you reading a book!
Am I the only person who thought that's where this was going? Thank you, Ace.
Mooney, if you want to employ a safety rule, I'm backing you on that.
Oh, that was a joke. That was a joke. But I just wanted to razz Patrick. Anyways, go back to the scene.
I've had enough of it.
You see a light on. That means that Cal is awake. When it's time for the meeting at 7, you see Metal coming out, very peppy. You see Isle kind of wandering in from a morning walk. And then probably not too late, 7:08, 7:09, you see Fish pushing themselves out of the tent, getting their coat on.
Cool. So May has a tray of tea ready because she's a good host, even if she doesn't quite trust these people.
Fish loves tea. Just grabs it.
No.
I'm made of tea. Isn't that
May
fun?
doesn't say anything to them.
Comprehensible things said by Kekano. Everyone's like, "Okay, bud. All right."
And once everyone's, I guess, like sat down and has tea or doesn't have tea, May pulls out like a scroll, like a big, sheer scroll that's like rolled up. She like flips it down and is standing in front of it like this with a little pointer because she doesn't have access to a Miley Thatch style projection system, and gives them a little like brief overall summary of what she knows about the area. But she withholds expectations about what she thinks might be valuable in there. She's more talking about like expected layout, potential hazards, and because she's so enthusiastic, kind of like goes on a bit of a tangent about like the actual cultural history that she knows of. And when she's satisfied that everyone is like comprehending that, rolls it back up and then like smacks in the hand like that and goes, "All right, now does everyone have their packs ready?"
Yes.
Now, I do think that we should all make sure that we have at least some rope, potential, let's say, explosives, because that's always good for clearing hazards. And frankly, I don't want to waste all of my dynamite if you guys have brought your own. And I want May to like,
Al's got the
she's not
dynamite in
deliberately
her
looking.
teeth like walrus tusks. Sorry. What were you going to say?
No, that's perfect. Because now May's like, okay, cool, they're not hiding the dynamite. Which she's pleased by. And then she also, so I actually just want to open my own pack. She also wants to check that everyone has like rations and water skins, because May has an explorer's pack which comes with rations. Does the rest of the group have them?
We abstracted a little bit, but yes, they all have the
Cool.
equivalent of kind of an explorer's pack, just some basic rations and water. Metal has a grappling hook that she purchased. And as you're having this chat, Sinner knows all this, but he's been taking care of some kind of last minute things around the camp, and he comes out, and you see that the pack he has packed is sized for him, and therefore literally twice the size of anybody else's pack.
Is he giving
And
Kronk vibes? Kronk with like the
yes,
enormous backpack?
yes,
Yeah.
no, Kronk with the giant
Stop,
backpack. That's
stop
exactly what
telling
it's like.
Vienna this. She's already in too deep.
Um, uh, as you're going over people's packs, just every once in a while, he's just like, "Yeah, I got some extra rope.
Oh,
I put
also
a
May
couple of our
passes
sticks in it."
Sinner tea just the way he likes it, or coffee or whatever he drinks. His beverage of choice, May has ready for him, and he gives it to him without even like
He
thinking about it.
has a nice tea with uh, some cream in it and two sugars, and he just assures you that he's kind of brought extras of everything. He's carrying some tarps and kind of like camping equipment if you need to be kind of overnight in the ruins. So you have some comfort. Um, he's just kind of like brought everything. And with the way of somebody, you've probably run into this a couple of times on your expeditions, somebody who doesn't spend a lot of time in nature and therefore is kind of an overpacker. Everybody has like brought enough stuff for like, if we get locked in the ruins, like we're comfortable for 3 days. And he's
He's
like,
got like 20 pairs of underwear.
yeah, he's like, I'm comfortable for like 10 days, and I brought a camp chair, and we've got my good knife, and then my second best knife in case my good knife breaks, and then my third best knife in case that also breaks. Just like very overpacked, but he's got a lot of extra stuff. So
May
Isla's
makes it.
judgmental about this. Sorry.
May is also judgmental, but she's also charmed by it because she'd rather someone be overprepared than underprepared.
hmm And it's
Um,
also like, that's probably been super annoying on previous digs when it's like, oh, that's a worker or something, or like they're really flagging because they can't walk into the dig site with all their stuff or whatever. This is like, he seems pretty capable of just carrying this pack no problem, and does not seem to be tiring at all, and you think like, if you're gonna overpack, physically you're probably fine.
Cool.
While I was gonna say like a bummer dialogue note. So if you have something just like exploratory or like expository, you might want to say first.
Oh, no, because I wanted to have a chat about the hierarchy of who's going to be in charge.
Yeah.
So,
Mine's related to that.
I have a quick question for Patrick, which
Mhm.
is how many copies of the same symbol can fish prepare at one time during a long rest?
So this is kind of an abstraction of the way symbol magic works combined with a D&D system. Functionally, you can do it an infinite amount of times because it's like the spell and can kind of cast the spell. We just say for like world building reasons that you're kind of like scratching it out on pieces of bark to like throw ahead of time or things like that. But yeah, functionally infinite, but you are the only one who can access it because otherwise symbols become way, way too strong. In the same way
No.
that they are too strong in the Skullduggery universe, and it's insane that there's one person who's really good at symbols in the entire world, and it's not something literally everyone does.
Yeah. Okay.
Boring. That's why. That's a bunch of chalks.
All right. Well, Fish has prepared a symbol for themselves.
Yeah.
Please continue.
Do you want to go, Mooney?
Yes. While Caligulus is drinking her tea, she's going to look at May over the teacup and say, Miss Gladly, if we are all entering together, who enters after us? Who looks for us if we are trapped, or if one of all of us or all of us perish?
May looks very surprised because the thought has literally never occurred to her that she might get got.
And I'm assuming I can clock that without checking anything.
But she's prepared. So May is like, why would you even? It gives you a look of clue like, why would you even think that? But then says, there's no need to worry, Cleric Denia. I have spoken to my third in command. What's his name? Insert name here.
Olsen.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I'm right. That's what it was.
I didn't even hear it. May doesn't even care. I'm so in character.
Well, what's his name?
If no one hears from us if we don't emerge within the day, he will alert the local sanctuary and launch a rescue effort.
And I think we let him know that Kitsune is capable of opening the doors if it seals again. And do we want to leave some sort of communication with the camp so that we could share the password to the door with them if someone needs to come after us?
That sounds like an excellent idea, Sinner, if you're all in favor. Actually, no, scratch that. May doesn't even ask your opinion. She goes, yes, that's an excellent idea.
So at that point, they're, recovering our bodies?
Sorry, committee, can you say that again?
Yeah. She said, so at that point, they're recovering what? Our bodies?
I wouldn't go so far as to say that, but many things can happen unexpectedly in a dig. We might get trapped down there. I don't think necessarily it's a case that we died, but...
How many people have died on your expeditions, Miss Gladly?
Sorry, this isn't made for. This is me actually trying to figure out what's better. May looks affronted and goes, nobody's died on my digs, but I will say that might be because I haven't really had that large a team before. However, when I have been taking people into dig sites, they have been about this size. We've all come out just fine.
Metal, how many people have died on our missions? There were several in the Clanlands. Three? No, Kakano, was it a lot?
It was...
Metal will list whatever the exact number is.
Yeah, Metal's like, I say their names every night before bed so that they're
No.
Including the woman I put on fire.
I sent her a care package every month. No! But yeah, she'll be like, this exact number.
Danielle,
that?
if you're genuinely afraid, you don't have to go in there.
And what purpose is that going to suit? When you are all locked in, I have to try and come in by myself to face whatever.
I'll give you the
Perils there.
password. You give it to someone you feel like could come and get us. Because
Wait,
obviously you don't.
and who would that be? The sanctuary that can't even reach us through teleporters for days?
Yeah.
I am
into this.
just. Yeah.
Can May? Is it okay if May interjects here?
Yes.
Yeah. So May politely but firmly interjects and says, and then she says, "Look, I completely understand. This, from what I gather, isn't something that you've all done before, and it can be a little bit alarming venturing deep into a dark magic cave. But please keep in mind that I've done multiple expeditions like this before. I do have a pretty good, albeit rough, understanding of what we're going to encounter down there, and I do believe that if we all keep our heads on straight, communicate effectively, and obey the hierarchy of command, then we will be okay. That being said, of course, if anyone does have any reservations, I would urge you to bring them up now, because I frankly do not want to get down there and have someone dissolve into hysterics." She waits patiently for if anyone has any genuine, besides Callie, obviously, has very genuine reservations. No? Well,
I'm just pointing out. I think I just wanted to sober the room a little bit.
No, I do appreciate that. I do think I can get quite carried away, and it is important that we proceed safely, because frankly, if someone were to die on my dig, I would probably never get funded again, and I would like to avoid that.
Tragic,
And
truly.
would you be able to sleep at night after that?
Probably not. And I would like to say, at this point, she kind of looks at Cinna like, why are they asking me these questions? Aren't they excited?
I think Metal's like, okay, well, we're all very skilled, and I think everything will be fine if we work together. Everything's gonna be okay. Let's just go in with a positive mindset. No need to panic, anybody. This is just a quick mission.
I would just like to remind everyone gathered that I am proficient in healing abilities, and that if I am not alive, things may be more difficult for you.
Hey, that's good to know, and a positive mindset is really important. And Kitsune is just like right there.
Metal's like,
Okay. Insight. I'm rolling insight immediately. Fish goes.
Hey, so what are you talking about? Are you doing a big expedition type thing?
18. What's this man thinking?
He is thinking.
Nothing.
You said?
Yes.
He is thinking that this is he feels like maybe you were planning on leaving him out, and he feels like, hey, this is a chance I can get into, kind of be really helpful, and prove to them that I'm really kind of good at this. Be helpful, be nice.
Oh, hi, Kit.
Oh yeah, hey Gus.
Don't call me that. What was the thing you called me yesterday?
You were Fish and Cousin and.
We can talk about it later.
Okay.
Wait till your memory comes back. This guy's clearly unreliable. I don't think he should be coming with us.
That's
I would
very
concur with
rude.
Fish.
I just.
I'm
May...
just razzing you, cuz.
All right, cool. It was all right. It was Godkin, I think. Yeah. Is that not the term where you're from?
Swivel. Excuse me?
Metal's like, what does that mean?
Oh yeah, okay. So that's what, German for something?
Oh no, I think that's English. Yeah. I mean, maybe that's not like the local, word, but yeah, Godkin, plain blessed, kaminoko in Japanese. I don't know what you call it here.
Can I get a religion check?
Yeah, go for it.
Yes.
I
That's
should be
a 18
rolling
for me.
something. I should be rolling something as well, but I'm not sure what it is.
You can
What should I
also
be?
be religion
You
I'll,
can, yeah,
or
you can also
history.
tell me what you're trying to like ascertain, and I can tell you what kind of check it is.
Fish is because what they thought that they heard was that like Kitsune said like guy or whatever was just trying to like be like they didn't think that this would be information that was actually worth anything. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? So what would that be?
What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, would probably be a religion check.
And it was 18 for me.
You could also do Arcana, I suppose.
Both of them are +0, so whatever.
That's why I'm here, baby.
15.
15. With a 15, I'm going to give you slightly different information because of your kind of cultural backgrounds. With a 15, there was, growing up on the islands, it's not really something you ever dealt with, but there were a couple of, Maori kids that you talked to when you were young before your mom kind of found out and forbid you from talking to the non-white children. And you learned a little bit of the kind of cultural knowledge from them. With a 15, you're like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. The only like reference I have is kind of like old legends of like, oh, uh, Tangaroa blesses a hero with power to save the islands or something like that. Oh yeah, kind of like mythic figures type of thing. Um, for Cal, with your much more academic background, the alternate term "plain blessed" is kind of what catches your attention. What's interesting about that is in the theory of magic is there is this kind of like our world, the mortal world, and then sort of alternate layers as you get closer and closer to kind of the source of magic. You really only know it because there was this large debate among the necromancers about whether kind of like the realm of death was one of these kind of like layers that's like a mix of the material world and places of magic, or whether it's its own unique thing. And that was a big controversy that caused kind of splintering of the faith and a lot of heresy, and a lot of people were burned for it. Um, so you would get the sense that uh, whatever the hell Kitsune is talking about, the most logical conclusion is that it refers to somebody who like gets their powers from some kind of dimension that is not fully like this physical material dimension. So if someone got like powers from kind of the land of death, this kind of like transfer place before the soul disappears or is destroyed or whatever, kind of necromancers argue about what happens to it. It could also be someone from like some of these other places where it's kind of like, well, you've read some magical theory about kind of like where the faceless ones come from and where they get their power. There's some kind of these alternate dimensions. You've read about some of the so-called gods, like the deathless and stuff like that. They kind of come from places like this. This just kind of like not Earth, not our reality, but not alternate Earth, like a plane shifter goes to.
Mm-hmm.
The like broad category of everything that doesn't include that. maybe it's something having to do that. Maybe it's someone who draws their power from there, or someone who's from there, or something like that. That's kind of the only thing you can think of.
Got it. Yeah, Cal's just gonna file that away without saying anything.
Fish goes and says to May, as well as Ink saying to Ellie, I am so sorry for derailing the thing that was supposed to be your thing. Let's go and do your thing now.
Oh, good. May looks at Fish appreciatively, and then turns her gaze to Kitsune, looking far less appreciative. And I think May also has to roll an insight just to make her actual in-game decision probably make more sense.
Yeah, wherever
That's
you
nat
need
20.
me, I'm here to help.
That's a nat
jeez.
20!
Okay, let's see if he meets or beats it.
Oh, sorry, nat 20, I've been 22 if we're including the insight.
Okay, 22. Yes, the way I do like ability checks is, there's kind of the school of thought that's like you can't crit on an ability check, which is rules as written, and then there's a school of thought that's like, hey, natural 20 always wins. I am kind of in between. A natural 20 adds more, so like
Okay, cool.
a 22 with a natural 20 is actually like a 25, basically.
All right.
Which does actually beat his roll by 1. Okay. Yeah, you get the sense that because it's a very small difference between the insight and his deception, I think you just a little bit buy that, like, oh, maybe he is kind of like wanting to get involved and help and so on. But then you kind of see the glint in his eye, and it's kind of like, oh, he does want to get involved. He wants to get involved because now there's this other person who can do his job, and he needs to prove that he's valuable again. And also, if he's where the valuable stuff is, it's a lot easier to pick it up now rather than wait till you pull it back and study it. It's better to take something valuable before it gets written down as an item recovered on a dig site rather than after you're paying attention to it.
Okay. Okay, so Patrick, I feel like May could really go either way on this. How badly, I mean, and Ink as well.
It's entirely
how
up to you.
badly-
It is not important to my plans whether you bring Kitsune or not.
Okay, cool. In that case, I feel that May observes this and is very much on her guard, and in light of the conversation she had with Sinner and with Fish offering their services to open the doors and everything, I think May puts on her best academia, oh, I'm so sorry, you know how it is, face, and says to Kitsune, look, Kitsune, I really do appreciate the enthusiasm you're showing, but I've been really worried about your health. You've been laying down quite a lot. It seems like you're still tired from the trip here. I think for now it would be best if you continue to recuperate in the tent. I've got what's his name? Carlson or whatever it is. Yeah, I've got Carlson keeping an eye on things, and he'll be watching out for you, making sure that you're recovering well. If you have any issues, you can of course come to him. But I do strongly feel that given your weakened state, we just can't afford to have you on such a high stakes dig. And if we do multiple trips in, I'll reconsider that. But for this initial trip, at the very least, I think it's best that you stay here.
Give me a persuasion check.
Yeah.
And to kind of get your read on his reaction, we'll keep your insight from before.
That's a 17.
17. Okay. He does kind of clock a little bit that you're no, we don't want you. But he is kind of buying it. You see a little bit of panic in his eyes as he's kind of like, oh no, I oversold the sleeping all the time thing. I just wanted to be lazy, but now it's biting me in the ass. How do I turn this around? But he just kind of goes like, Yeah, Ms. Gladly, I totally understand. Carlson, he's a good guy, shit at cards, but that's all I know. I'll stay here and I'll kind of recuperate and make sure that things are good here. And that second dig, I'll be there for the second exploration. Uh,
Fish
and I
like tries to catch him a little if he's trying to fuck off this moment to say,
Um,
"Oh, sorry, no, you go."
so I just wanted to say, like, May does, like, before he can leave, say to him, look, this being said, of course, I understand that it was very laborious for you to come out here, and I will make sure that your time, regardless of how much we use your abilities on, is appropriately compensated. Because she does value someone's time, so she's not going to be a complete bitch about it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. And with your kind of residual insight into his mental state, I think you see a little bit in his eyes of being like, this isn't over yet,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
that's all right.
Um,
We'll burn that bridge when we get to it.
yeah. Um, and then as he turns to leave, Fish grabs his attention.
We're gonna talk later.
Okay, looking forward to it, cousin.
Me too.
Yeah. And he turns back to May and just kind of like wide eyes, like, what does that mean? Who's this
And they just
person you
like,
brought? What does that mean? And then
I
walks
don't
off.
mind, boy.
Yeah, you've got all your stuff together. Are you ready to head out?
Let's do it.
All right. You give your last orders to Carlson and the others, mostly, hey, don't fuck this up. And
And for the love of
you
God,
start,
delicacy, ain't touch anything.
yeah, you start descending into the cave. Sounds of the camp fading farther and farther away. Um, as you head in, there are still a couple people around just doing uh, just a little like cleanup work. There's like making sure tools are put away and stuff like that. So they're down in the cave with you. And you also see, as you are getting everything together, that Kitsune has gotten a banana from somewhere and is just kind of like casually eating it while keeping an eye on you guys. Not close enough to like threaten you or anything, but to kind of see what you're doing. Yes, he is eating it peel and all. It's maybe some kind of like mental game to
Power move.
throw you off,
He's
but
biting
yeah.
it from the side.
Like a corn.
But yeah, everyone is here at the door that Fish sealed, and uh, Sinner is just kind of looking everyone over, making sure they all got their stuff, nods to May, and says, "All right, boss, I'm guessing you want to go first, but I can go first to sort of avoid if you think there's going to be any danger. I can take that, or you want me to follow up last, or whatever you want to do, whatever order we want to do this in."
Um, May like whispers to Sinner, like, Sinner, you do understand if there is any actual danger, that it doesn't matter whether it's you or me. We both will probably die. So I think, for the sake of appearance, I should go first. But I really appreciate the thought behind it. And she claps him on the back. It says more
Yeah,
loudly,
boss. Of course, yeah.
all right, is everybody ready?
Yeah.
Let's
Um,
go.
so May gestures for Sinner to take up the rear. Um, and I want her to give him a look that is kind of both like, I trust you, but also you're doing this particularly to keep an eye on them in case they steal anything.
Yeah,
So
you just
can
kind of
convey that.
look over the others' heads at him, and he gives you a small nod. And he also, see, kind of like glances over his shoulder and is keeping an eye on Kitsune, who's probably like 20 feet back, just leaning against a rock wall he probably shouldn't be leaning against, eating a banana from the side, and watching you all go through this door. Yeah, Fish
May
is the only one
gestures.
who can open it,
Yeah.
so.
Well, I gave everyone permission except Sinner. Everyone can open it,
Okay.
unless they're
Yep.
Sinner.
So May it's a pull door, isn't it? May pulls it open.
All
She makes
right.
it look real effortless.
The door gets pulled open, and it seems like in the time that you left, since the doors were closed, it went dark again. And Sinner pulls out a flashlight, clicks it on, and is sweeping it into the room. Everything kind of looks the same as last time. Nothing's changed. There's still that activation symbol on the ground. Just a room kind of completely floor, walls, and ceilings covered in symbols, and probably, honestly, the most pristine room of any Ruin of the Ancients you've ever seen or has ever been recorded.
May steps in, and I think she also. Sorry, Patrick. With the artificial mind, May has to do it as a long rest to actually transfer information, doesn't she? Like she can't actively be sending or like recording with it. That's not how it works, does it?
You can have the I will say that you can have the artificial mind. You can have Cat record something that's about one room's worth, but that would be kind of like just digesting that information for like per long rest. So
Oh,
like
okay. Never
if
mind.
you decide to take your time, you can like very carefully categorize everything using Cat without taking any additional notes. As it is, you may want to use Cat to just record like particularly important things.
Yeah. Okay. Can she gets Cat to do like I guess a general scan of the symbols on the wall, but like kind of like how you would with the camera, like pans Cat
Hmm.
across, up and
Yep.
down, and then when she's satisfied, puts Cat back in her chest pocket, and then goes
Uh,
further into the room.
as Cat is kind of moving around in your hand, scanning. Sometimes she stands up a little higher or crouches down a little lower just to get the angles on all of the symbols. And then as soon as she's full, she just goes perfectly still, and then you just pick her up, put her back in your pocket. Um,
And I stand to the side, let everyone else walk in because I'm closing that door after everyone's inside.
okay. As you walk in, lights flick on. Just how you left it is interesting. There's still those two suits of armor and the little rack of swords on the end. You can see that the metal of these pieces is this kind of green metal that's been found at a lot of ancient ruins. It's melted down to make woven razors, the special blades that like the scythes and cleavers use, and such like that. This is kind of the only known source of it is these old ruins. But it's weird because like decorations in a ruin is not super normal. And give me a perception check as you come in for the first time.
I swear to God, I'm not making this up. Another nat 20.
All right, another nat 20. What does
Um,
that make your total?
28.
With the +3 or without the +3?
Um, no, I get a +8 in my perception. You said
Okay, so you're
perception,
28 and then a nat 20. All right. Um,
I'm using
you
up all my good rolls now.
you see first of all in the room that there is a kind of this like little plaque, just like a area that's carved ever so slightly different, kind of right across from the door, that does have a large humanoid symbol that is usually used to represent the ancients, and you do get you can see a little bit of, as the room activates, just a little bit of magic kind of sparking into these symbols and so forth. And you remember that very few people have ever had like a wall or a floor or anything that was whole. You do remember that the ancients sometimes kind of have messages in symbols that are not written. Someone talented enough can kind of commune with the symbols and get kind of like little visions and such, which is how you know the kind of names that the ancients were known by, because they don't like translate phonetically.
Magic
Um,
rat.
but it's something that like you can only do when something is whole, because mostly you just get like little fragments. So I want to go through everything you notice first before you take a
Okay.
crack at that. Um, you also notice that above this, there's kind of a little blank space on the wall, and in a circle around it, the symbols are ever so slightly different. Who walks into the room next? Who's walking into the room second?
Good question. I
I want
would
to say
Fish walk
that,
in?
yeah, sure, Fish walks in, but like they were holding Isle's hand as we were going through like the foyer, and they give it a
Mhm.
squeeze and then go on through and activate Eldritch Sight as well.
Um, uh, with Eldritch Sight, it is blinding. It, all of this
Ah,
magic,
yep, same
all
as
of this magic.
yesterday.
All of this magic is active. The floor, the ceiling, the walls. The only like thing that your eyes can light on is like the doorway, deeper in the ruins, just because it's like, oh, a period of wall that doesn't have tons of magic coursing through it because it's a blank space. Um, yes, you do get the sense of like tons and tons of spell work kind of wrapping around each other. And again, the most complicated thing you've ever seen. The only equivalent you've seen is like the mirror rooms that Grand Mage Crown was working on to like develop that mirror security system. The room that you came in, where it was just floor to ceiling symbols. That's the closest you've seen, and that is like a grand work for one magical defense that didn't even work right. This is an entire room that, as far as you can tell, has got like 30 different things going on, and they're all like wrapped up in each other, and everything's moving on. Uh, this is There is more symbol work in this room, like talent wise, than you think any current person can recreate in like just this room. Um, and May gets that, as well as seeing that when Fish walks in, the little blank space with the symbols around it change ever so slightly. Some of the symbols just kind of disappear into the wall, and then another slightly different symbol takes its place.
Does May recognize any of these symbols at all?
Uh, Give me a symbol check, and I'll say with advantage because of that excellent perception check.
It's only a 5.
With advantage?
What's how do I do advantage?
You roll
Just
Twice.
roll
twice.
again and
Oh,
take
okay.
whichever one's higher.
Okay. 11.
Okay. With an 11, you recognize a lot of the broad strokes. There's a lot of um, symbols of like activation, powering, and transferring. It does seem like, perhaps by accident, perhaps just on purpose, the design of kind of like this land, you seem to have come upon the main entrance, and or one of the main entrances, and that activation symbol on the floor does seem to have activated everything, not just here, but maybe even deeper in the facility. You can kind of hear some noises in the background of things happening. Um,
Can I
but
roll a
uh,
perception check? Oh, sorry.
but you uh, you do recognize a decent number of these symbols. Some of them are strange to you, but you recognize that the large figure representing the ancient is one you've seen on what you've recovered so far, which is the symbol of the Root Warden, who you assume is the ancient associated with this place, who built this place or lived here or something. Not really clear from what you've gotten so far. And that yeah, this room seems to be kind of a nexus of power and also security. You can get a couple symbols that are kind of like symbols of safety. There are some symbols you recognize that are kind of like anti-divinatory, so you can't uh, like spy from afar on this room. Um, and yeah, just kind of like general like sealing and security magic, kind of as you would assume there would be by a front door.
Okay. Um, May doesn't do like May's still like waiting for people to come in, but I guess while the rest of the people come in, if like Ed lines up and has the opportunity, May does like kind of point some of these things out to Fish.
All right.
Fish
Um,
listens.
and Vienna, you were having Isle make a perception check or something
Yeah. Yes,
as you
to
get
see
pulled through.
if I'll noticed the symbols move when Fish walked in.
Sure. Give me a perception check, because if Fish is holding your hand, you're coming through next.
Yes. Uh, dirty 20.
Dirty 20. All right. Yes, you do see the symbols move ever so slightly as Fish walks through, and then as you set foot in there, they move again very slightly. Nothing that's, no kind of sudden movements, just kind of a little change between what May has been watching as the people come in and what you've noticed. It seems like it is, when people come in and kind of step over this threshold that activates everything is what causes the change to move. It's not like random or timed or anything like that. Who goes next? Metal? Okay. Metal goes in. You feel a little bit with your elemental sense, just kind of the cave beyond the ruins. And there is kind of like kind of like a blank space. Give me a perception check as well.
With advantage.
Yeah.
So excited to have elemental sense. Oh no. Just kidding. I still suck at
Advantage
it.
not help.
No, I rolled a 1 and a 5. So
Oh.
it's an 8.
There is kind of at the edge of your sense of the earthwork, kind of a void, as if there was a large cave or something like that. That it seems to be kind of like deeper in a little bit. That's kind of what you get with an 8. Yeah, the others notice that the symbols change slightly again as metal comes in. Do we want to do May kind of communing with these symbols and getting that?
Yes, I'd
Okay.
love that.
Come up, reach the symbols, and just. You are transported and you're no longer in this cave. Your mind is in a deep, old forest with long roots and heavy boughs. You feel fear and you feel protectiveness and you feel sheer willpower as your mind traces the roots down deep and then seeming to spring up from the earth in other places, this interconnected network. And as your mind pushes up from the earth, you get this sense of the ancient that's created this place, the Root Warden. And you get something, not words, more impressions. We fight so that way we may live. We protect against the enemy. We are committed to our path, and our will not falter.
Can May attempt to communicate, or is this just a recording?
It's just basically a recording.
Okay.
But
Can May roll?
with your very high perception from before, I will say when you get the sense of the enemy, you get kind of a blank. But it is a blank sort of somewhat in a very kind of caricature style of a face. Perhaps the faceless ones, perhaps those associated with the faceless ones, perhaps even other ancients that are considered enemies. Hard to exactly nail down the time period of this place, but that is what you get.
Can May roll Arcana?
Sure.
And that is 16.
With a 16 Arcana, you kind of pull out of this vision of these symbols, and you can see now that this kind of area that you were communing with, this little plaque where the symbols are a little bit different, kind of repeat almost that same motto that you commune with psychically. It's not part of the larger magic or the structures or anything that's happening here. It's not doing anything. It is actually the equivalent of words. Almost like you would walk into a building and see the company motto really big on the walls, or the crest of the government department grounded to the floor. You get the sense that whatever this place was, whoever was here and whatever they did, what they are dedicated to is this kind of motto across
Finding
from
the
the main
enemy.
door.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Sorry, if someone else wants to do something, I just want to have a think about what May would do.
Okay.
This if someone else wants to do something, yeah.
So that leaves Cal and Sinner. Sinner has been watching very nervously as everyone steps through, kind of like looking everywhere for possible threats, and also keeps looking over his shoulder where Kitsune is just sitting eating a banana wrong, still keeping an eye on you. As he looks back, Kitsune is like, "Oh, oh."
So no good man.
I want to say that Fish glances over their shoulder, maybe sees him, decides they don't like that, and is looking towards Cal.
What is Fish looking with?
Just their eyes.
No, I mean, like, is it like
What are you trying to
mean
convey
girl
with
to
the
mean
look?
girl? Look at this freak.
No, looking to be like, oh, hey, you're still here, right? Yeah. I might have to have a word with you in a sec.
Okay. Yeah, I think Hal looks up at Sinner and is assuming that that he's purposely waiting to go in last. I should say looks up and up and up at Sinner.
And up and up. Yeah. You look up and it's just like chest, and then you're like, right, even higher. This is an aisle situation.
But worse.
Only like an inch worse. But yeah, you look up and up and up. He notices you looking at him, and he gives you a little nod. And he kind of moves a little bit closer to the door just to kind of like put his back to the wall so that he can see both you all on one side and Kitsune on the other, with Cal in front of him, and he just kind of like gestures for you to go through.
Thank you. Miss Gladly? Do you mind if I cross the room?
Be my guest.
And Cal's going to slowly cross the entirety of the room and get to the far wall from the door and try not to die.
As you enter the room, both May, also Fish would see this too. May, Fish, and Isle see the symbols change, and they are changing rapidly, very suddenly.
Oh no. Oh god.
And so you can
Hot little
feel
necromancer.
energy start charging into the room. Something is going to happen. The symbols are changing. Give me your rolls. Tell me what you're going to do.
Insight.
Inside on who?
On
Arcana.
Cal, tell me what she's doing.
Perception. What the spikes are coming out of the wall?
Okay,
21
hey,
spikes.
is she alright? Like, what's survived?
May sees the same sign, enemy, enemy, enemy,
Oh.
coming out from the middle of that blank space of the signs that were changing.
Oh my god.
Oh, why is
Oh
that?
shit.
rolled it.
Oh shit.
Rolled a dirty 20. What's gonna happen to her?
With a
This music
dirty,
is horrible.
with a dirty 20, it seems like Cal has set off some security measure. I need May to roll another symbol check. If everybody's looking around and trying to help her, I'd say advantage.
I was gonna tackle her.
Also, perception to perceive the danger.
Yeah, you got it.
With advantage, I get a 15.
Yeah. You got a 15. Enemy, 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 and some symbols start appearing around it. Faceless enemy, faceless enemy.
Oh, get out. God damn.
What'd you roll for perception?
Wait.
Oh, I
Wait a
rolled.
minute. Is it happening?
I rolled 9.
With a 9, you can just see energy is charging up. There is a point above Cal that is gathering energy because you still have your eyes on.
Oh my god.
Cal,
Okay,
your
can
feet
I,
seem
like-
to be stuck to the ground on this symbol as you're coming in, but you can still move the rest of your body.
Roll the 21 Arcana. What did I get from that?
You got that something is going to happen. You've triggered a security thing.
Oh my god. I don't
No,
like this.
okay. And then I was gonna go over and try to grab her and just like, I don't know,
I'll
just be
go
there.
and, like, protect her with her body. Be like, if you can't see her, if you can't tell she's here.
Give me for metal. Give me an athletics check. Are you trying to push her closer into the room or out?
Oh god. I don't know. I guess maybe out because it seems like
home.
if it seems like it went bad as soon as she walked in, I guess I would try to push her out maybe.
Sinner is looking at you, really concerned. Understands something is happening. If you say anything, he will help you.
Oh well, hold on. I just rolled really good. Hold on.
Fish.
I'll put
Fine.
together what I've put
Feels
together,
like I got
Patrick.
this.
Is it the literally she's faceless?
It's the veil.
Yeah.
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 The
Yeah,
veil.
has Cal put that together?
I don't know. May, I don't think, has shared
Yeah.
the information about what
alright.
this warning
I've been, like,
is.
running the calculations. So you
I
Fish has put.
ooh,
Fish has grabbed their life gem. It's actively in their hand if
Good.
needed.
Okay, good.
You're prepared.
Um,
What was your athletics check for metal?
I got it. I got an 18, so I think I would just start like you know,
Okay.
freaking out, and maybe running towards the door with, or at least
You
trying
got an 18. Sinner manages to grab her arm as well, and Cal, as you start to
Mr.
pull
Cal.
backwards, you feel that like the resistance is keeping you from going
Oh my
farther
God.
into the room.
Mhm.
You can step back.
Excellent.
Um,
Collisions
um,
will start backing up.
As
And,
soon as you get out of the activation symbol, everything shuts off, goes back to normal. The symbols stop displaying this warning, goes back to neutral.
What the hell?
Well,
May-
I guess I will be the one staying back.
May pipes up I'm terribly sorry, Clinic Denier. I think it's because it thinks you're faceless. Several of the symbols popping up from the alert were basically conflating faceless with enemy. So I don't know whether it literally thinks that you're a faceless one, or that something about the clothes you're wearing are perhaps.
Patrick, let me know if this would be beyond Kel's knowledge. Would she know what a kilf is? I feel like she would.
A kilf? Oh, that's
the dumb thing you were confused about in the grimoire.
I'm pretty sure it's just Kith, isn't it? I don't think there's
Kith,
L. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's
I didn't
like
want to remember anything.
That's like the faceless ghoul things, right?
Yeah.
I would say probably no, just because like that was a thing that kind of existed in lore, but it was so long ago before what's his face started doing it again.
No, they were doing those experiments like now.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Give me probably a religion check.
Yeah.
Vienna, you asked what a Kith is. I'll tell you. It's like
Something
when they try to crossbreed the faceless ones with people. Or like,
yeah,
that's
so
not
normal.
really, but
it makes their face melt off.
So basically, if you're a purebred faceless one's dog, you could turn into Valkyrie, who is a fucking god mode Mary Sue. But if you weren't, you would turn into this like a Doctor Who monster, faceless person.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
And like you're totally disabled.
You
you're just standing there.
So I got an 11, Patrick.
Okay. With an 11, I don't think you would know Kith specifically, but you do know that kind of in the faceless lore, it's like when a faceless one takes over a human body, the face melts. There are certain like servants of the faceless ones that are touched by their magic, that their face melts. That just kind of like having a not recognizable face is a pretty easy security measure for what seems to be an anti-faceless one
Gotcha. She goes, "This room is dumb." No, she does not.
Cal can't use Face ID.
Yeah, she can't. She's like, I got my thumbprint.
Your iPhone is locking because Face ID isn't working.
I think at May's comment, she's going to be very touchily being like, well, it's not coming off, so you are on your own. Have fun.
That's right, May. I've got an
Miles
idea.
says, "Oh, it's probably the same."
Oh, and I was going to say, so I have mending as a cantrip, and I was going to ask if I can repurpose it a little bit to basically reshape the veil to look more distinctly, like kind of hug features a bit better, so it looks more person-like.
I also have, mending, and I also do have a underveil that actually shows like her nose and the general face of her shape. If May suggested that, Cal would be willing. This is out of it, like as Mooney. Cal would be willing to lift the first layer. She would never go beyond that.
Perfect. All right. So May, Cal was like, fucking out of here, and May's like, wait, cleric, I have an idea. I don't know if you're familiar with the concept, but I have a simple magic that I can use to basically alter fabrics and materials.
As can I.
Well, excellent. Perhaps we could work to the same ends. If we could perhaps make your veil look more like a person, or hug your features somewhat better, it would recognize that you're not faceless.
That's very confident, and I don't know why you would be that confident.
Well, at least we know that if worst comes to worst, if you step into the symbol, you can simply step out of it if it activates.
Yes, fine. And she's gonna kind of look at people she likes and trusts more than May and see how everybody's been reacting to that.
Metal's concerned. She's like, no, Cal's upset. What's happening?
Yeah. I would want to suggest a mask. Like,
I also thought that, but I was like, that's the same problem, and we don't have one.
we go out and be like, okay, Kitsune, make yourself useful. Whittle a goddamn face mask in 30 seconds. And then he'll... Yeah, anyways, that's what I was thinking. I don't know if she's saying it, but I think she knows that Cal is not going to take off the veil.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking
Does
of
Fish have
Kitsune,
any?
Oh, Fish has been, and they're looking very concerned, and their thought is like, oh, I really don't, like, I want to say I told you so, as in you should have stayed back, but it's not the right time. Just, I'm not going to say anything.
Kitsune has now walked over because Sinner's attention is entirely on this like source of danger. And he's just like, "You guys seem to be having some problems.
Please
All good?
leave. No,
Go
no one
away.
wants you here. Please leave.
That's
May
not
just holds
true.
up a hand.
Sinner,
with
you
a
want me
hand.
here? Not really. All right. Fine. Just I'm here to help. If you need any help, just be right over here. Old Kitsune, if you need
What are you chewing? Is it
help.
still the banana?
Metal's like, why are you
Is
eating
it
it like that?
Is that your cud?
Oh yeah, no, it's the pulls out like a piece of banana peel. Yeah, it's just really chewy. It's got the stem that he's been chewing on.
No, that's
Fucking
not
Cal
how.
is this close to like rolling an attack roll on this man. She's
Blasphemous
just like,
darts.
yeah.
Fish blasphemous darts him in the face.
Okay.
Okay.
Cal
Do it.
looks with immense gratitude.
Roll damage.
Blasphemous dart never misses.
Never misses.
It's true.
Hold on, I just want to double check if I'm rolling multiple dice now that we're level 5.
Yes, it should be 4d4, I think. Are you
Okay.
doing all 4 darts at his face?
Kill Kitsune
I'll
right
just,
now.
can I just
Do
do
it!
one? Can I
You
just
can
do
just do
one?
one. Yeah.
All right,
you can
I'll
just
just
do
do one. 1.
Cal,
Okay, 1 damage.
It's not about the damage, it's about the fuck you.
the principal.
You do that. The blasphemous dart fires off and goes straight through his head without pausing, and then the illusion that is Kitsune disappears.
Hey, what the fuck? Hey, what the fuck?
Where are you?
Do we need to
Wouldn't you
address
like to know?
that?
I fucking
Is
would
he
like
inside?
to know. That's why I asked.
Can
Metal's gonna poke him.
No,
Can perceive something.
You can all
I
make
perceive-
up perception checks
Yeah,
if you
making
want.
just
I'm
I'm
gonna
doing
ought
that.
not to. Cal has enough fucking
Natural
other
one.
May's blinded with hatred.
It is not impossible for May. It is not impossible that Kitsune has been a fiction from the start. Sinner and Kitsune may be the same person. Kitsune may be just the illusion that he creates. That's what a natural one gets you.
Yeah.
Okay, well I got 4. Hester, is that any better?
I got a 10.
Not really. You don't see him. You can't really tell where the awful chewing noise is coming from.
He's in my head. I made
Yeah.
him up.
God. We've got a 20. This is
God.
Hit Club. We've got a 22.
Fish, I'm in here. I'm in here with you.
Rat
In your mind.
pit.
You got a
It's me,
22?
boy, the PS5. Yes.
Leave the girl, boy. No, I just got her.
With a 22, you cannot tell where he is. And with a
Fear.
22, you think if I can't see where he is and I'm getting a pretty good view, he may actually be invisible in this room.
He's in.
Can
The
we
course
start
going
throwing
inside the
dirt?
house.
Can I throw dirt or mud towards
Oh!
where I think his voice is?
Sure.
Wait, hang on. I forgot. I've got goggles of clear sight. Does that do
Eldritch
anything
sight.
for invisibility?
Sight.
Yeah, no. Let's
I'm
use the
pretty sure that
let's use the
does.
X-ray vision.
It can just be that
Ash
Maze
thought you were
not got
being
them on
sneaky.
for the sake
Let
of the
me
story.
just double check that.
Forgot about
Nope, that is not what goggles of clear sight do.
Damn.
But
okay.
Girl,
Eldritch
what's
sight.
the point? Yeah, can we see the infrared?
Oh, but Fish is gonna be blinded by the fucking room. Fuck, it's gonna be like,
There'll be
oh
Good.
shit.
There'll be a person-shaped light.
I
Yeah,
think that
that's.
section is a different color. I don't know.
I think. Colliginous, give me a stealth roll for Cal while all this
Oh.
is happening.
Oh my
Great,
god,
love it.
he
7.
7? A 7
Yep.
stealth, really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I rolled low.
Well,
This devious bastard.
everybody's
Can
pretty
Kekano
distracted.
smell him?
Everybody's pretty distracted by this Kitsune thing. You could probably just take your veil off, walk through, and put it back on before anyone notices.
You're not making me beholden to that action, Patrick. I will say first, she is going to turn to center and say in a quiet voice, "In the giant knapsack of yours, do you have any sunglasses?"
Yeah, I got sunglasses. Kekano, I rolled for him. He also cannot detect Sinner. Kitsune. Sinner pulls out a pair of aviators for Cal,
yes,
and
yes.
if Isle wants to start throwing dirt around looking for
Yes,
Kitsune,
I'll
give
Yeah,
me an
Cal's like,
attack
"Thank
roll.
you."
Just give me an
yes.
attack roll.
I just remembered I
Yeah.
have something.
Oh yeah, you do have advantage.
Yeah, do you have creepy man sense?
I have detect heat. I just remembered I have
Yeah,
detect heat, so
do
I
it.
can if he's here. Okay.
I rolled do I add to my attack roll again?
Your proficiency, which should be +3.
Thank you. I have rolled a 9, so Isle is just looking like a sad dog digging in the dirt.
You
She's
grab just like
God.
big handfuls. You're making big clouds. It just seems to not be where he is. You know, you're not finding anything.
He's fucking crawling on the ground.
detect the heat. He's on the ceiling. He's gonna descend from the ceiling.
Do you do detect heat?
I sure do.
What's the range on detect heat?
Meadow's like,
How tall are the ceilings?
It's 20 feet. I do a whole circle around the room.
Meadow's running.
You actually see in the corner of the room, in this kind of like destroyed foyer room, not actually into the room you were in. You just see a little man kind of crouching in the corner, going.
That
Metal's like,
motherfucker.
Different person. This is a different guy.
Yeah, no, this is a separate guy. He's just been hanging out.
And then separately, you see
It's
Kitsune
Carlton.
against the wall, eating a banana, just invisible.
Metal's like, he's over there! He's over there!
Isla's running. Isla's gonna.
Yeah,
grab
and
the-
That's
while
when
we are
start-
doing this, while
I'm pointing in
everyone's
the
freaking the
direction.
fuck out, Cal's gonna flip up her outer veil, put on her aviators, and take a step forward.
You
Cal's like,
see,
anyways.
you see, the symbols shift. A small warning comes up, and then it disappears. And Cal is through, and seems to
Wow.
be okay. If anybody wants to make a perception check, they can see Cal's mouth, but everything else is completely covered. Meanwhile, Metal points at Kitsune, and he goes, "Oh shit!" and tries to scurry away. But you probably just like keep pointing at him.
Yep.
He's right
Yeah,
there!
Metal
Sounds like a
can make it.
dog.
I mean, yeah, Isle can make an attack with disadvantage if you know kind
Yeah.
of generally where he is. Yeah, you want to try to hit him with the glaive or something?
No, she just wants to grab him. She doesn't want. I mean, I know I did literally say kill that guy, but she does just want to grab him.
Give
All
me
right.
an athletics check with disadvantage.
Okay. Where'd my
I never
cat
got the
go?
chance to say my root joke. we're in the place of the root warden, and I was gonna be like, hey Ellie, do you remember what root is Australian slang for?
Of course, please.
Of course, yeah. And that's just homework for the fucking rest of you.
Okay.
scared.
Okay. It's weed, I'm sure.
Yeah,
No.
that's totally
Yeah.
it.
I was gonna say
Love a-
penis,
love a
just
good
because I'm
root.
pretty sure that's what Australian slang is.
Yeah,
for
it
hair.
always is penis.
It's always
Always
penis.
penis.
Cal, also, I will say,
For
while this
Lizzie.
fucking Wile E. Coyote shenanigans are going to go on, Cal is going to flip back down the veil and just keep an eye on some symbols.
Yeah, you go through and everything is okay. If there's anybody who like was not focused on Kitsune, you see even Sinner is like, "What the fuck is he? The fuck is he?" I think even with a 9, just because nobody is paying attention to
No
you, you
one.
get through without anybody seeing your face. So by the time this Kitsune thing is done, you're just in the room, fully veiled again, both layers. Everybody missed
Yeah.
it.
Metal's like,
Sunglasses. For
Great.
cuteness, sunglasses are propped on the top of her
Yeah,
head.
that
Very
is
good.
cute.
Very
that's
good.
adorable.
Are they
Amazing.
She could have put them
size?
in her pocket, but I want to be cute, so they're on top of her head. And now she's like still looking back at everybody doing their fucking Roadrunner shenanigans, and she's just like, thanks. And she's gonna kneel down, and drop into death sense at the farthest point of the room.
Okay, before we get into what your death sense is, let's handle that roll from Isle.
Yes. It's a 13.
Okay, with a 13, you actually feel his clothes for a little bit before he
No.
slips out of your grasp,
No.
and Metal
Slippery
sees him
pig.
just like worm up and jump over somebody. And then Kitsune is going to try to do a spell about it. What is May saying?
I was gonna ask if May can use her whip to try and trip him up.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'd say do an
Get
attack
his
roll.
ass.
Yeah.
Do an attack roll with disadvantage.
Yeah, sorry, give me a
Also,
sec.
I did look up what root meant.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, it's a real shock, I'm sure. Okay.
I haven't looked it up. I'm scared.
We are in. Oh,
With disadvantage,
Mads,
yeah.
may I say, we're in the ruins of the fuck warden.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank
So Patrick,
God.
so with
the
disadvantage,
ancient
I roll
fuck.
twice and take the weaker roll.
The lower one.
The lower. Okay,
And
give me a
you
second.
do add your proficiency as well, so it should
Yeah.
be +3.
So first one was an 8, so great. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, no. Okay. Sorry, 4 + 2 is 6.
Wait, am I wrong? Oh, it's +5 to hit.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You miss, unfortunately, and you see you see 3 kitsunes appear in front of you.
Fuck's sake.
Metal will still know which is the real one because only one of them actually has body heat. But you can see all 3 of them are going to try to charge the door and jump in before you close it.
You know, I'm so surprised by this power set. It wasn't foreshadowed by anything at all.
The name wasn't a giveaway?
No, I'm being so sincere right now, Patrick.
Okay, so how far away are they from the door, Patrick?
They are charging right now, so all 3 of the kitsunes are probably like 5 feet from the door. You gotta act fast.
Okay. And Sin is right next to the door, yeah?
Sinner is right next to the door. He is going to take a swing on one of the kitsunes. He doesn't know which is the real one.
I'm just gonna look up the Okami boss fight so we know what to do. Yep.
Can May jump in for a split second? Like, is it before he takes that swing? Is there time?
Yeah, you can jump in before he takes the swing.
Okay. So May's going to use magic telephony. So, because I'm attuned to my artificial mind, anyone who's carrying one of my infused items, and Sin is carrying one of my sending stones, which I've infused, I can communicate telepathically with him, and he can respond. I'm going to telepathically scream at him and say like, "Close the door!" and hopefully that'll persuade him
Okay.
not to squeak and go in Kitsune's face, which I think would be funny.
He is going to make a acrobatics check to try to like eel into the door and slam it closed before Kitsune can get in. Wait, he's not doing this. He's doing that. Which means, sorry, Sinner has a big block of text. I need to make sure I'm using his powers correctly.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's not just big man, big man guy,
Big
ball
man.
Man.
Sinner ducks in, grabs both of the doors. You see just like full wingspan, the big back muscles as he stretches out and grabs both half of the door, and he just slams them closed with a big bang, and you see the Kitsunes trapped on the other side before they disappear.
Wait, so all three of them though, yeah?
All three of them.
Okay, good.
This changes the password in their head.
Detect heat lasts for
You-
10 minutes. Just
Yep.
putting that out there.
Do you seal the door now that it's closed? Because
Yes.
otherwise you can just kind of like physically
Isn't
force it
Cal
open.
No,
in
see,
there?
Yeah.
wait, what?
Wait.
What?
Yeah.
What's
We left-
happening?
No,
is
Cal
in
got
there.
through.
Yeah, Cal's here.
Yeah, you were all on the inside of the ruins. Kitsune's on the
Oh,
outside.
okay. I was when Vienna was saying that, I
Okay.
was like, oh, did you guys all back out?
Nope.
That's what
Back
I was
down.
inside.
Good.
You've
Never
closed the door
mind.
and sealed yourself in the ruins.
Well.
And then
Good Christ.
you hear from behind you, "Whew, man, that was close." And you see Kitsune standing behind you.
Ah!
And then he goes, "Nah," and disappears because he's an illusion too. and then you hear a banging on the outside of the door. "I'm sorry, let me in."
May like
Middle's
leans
like,
against the door and is like, "We'll see you in a couple of hours, Kitsune. Have a nice rest." And then just
Damn
fucking
it.
walks into the room. What the hell?
It's just a bit shell-shocked by all this sudden turn of events. However, they do the hokey pokey to lock the door. Put the left hand in,
Yeah.
put the
Left
hand
hand
out.
out. That's how you do your magic. Yep.
Tears streaming down your face.
I'm never gonna get answers because the only guy who could give them to me is a little trickster goblin.
Just a fucking knob. Just-
God.
I'm
I
fucking
think
sure.
Isle is like,
My God.
something strange is happening, and just kind of like gives Fish a look like, damn, that guy sucks. I'll hold him down if you want to talk to him. Like,
Make sure you're holding the right one.
yeah. God.
But
Yeah.
Metal's like, that's
Meanwhile-
really him out there. He's not
Yes.
in here anymore, I swear.
Yes, Metal can confirm that he is not in this room, and
Mhm.
that the last time she saw the heat signature was outside as the door was closing. So she can confirm that he is locked out. Also, Cal was doing death sense in the corner while all of you were dealing with this. With your death sense, the human remains you were sensing are no longer at kind of like the extreme edge of your vision. They're now more fully in your sense range. The closest of them seem to be in the next room. And now that it is more definite, now that you're closer, now that you can get this better sense of them, you realize that you were perhaps not wrong, but they are human remains. But, and that's kind of what you get, just kind of like, they're human or really close to human, but there's something wrong with them. And the kind of mist-like soul fragments you felt, you're now more kind of in the middle of where they are. You're feeling that stronger as well. And with Metal's heat sense still active, you get a little bit of residual heat as if from power gathering at the center of the 2 suits of armor that are in the room with you, and in the blades of the swords that are on the wall. And as you watch for just a moment, the heat dissipates. And it seems whatever security system started activating whenever Cal came in with no face is deactivating. And everything is okay for now. Kekino goes, "That was crazy!"
I think Metal would turn and like realize like, oh, Cal made it in and we're all good, and be like, how did you do that? What did you do? Where'd you
I
get those
pleaded with
sunglasses from?
I pleaded with the walls, and the walls said, "Okay, it's fine. Who cares? No one cares about anybody's personal boundaries, anyways."
Don't be like that, Denya. Kekino
I
cares.
will be like however I
care.
please. Actually, thank you, Kekino.
I care about your personal boundaries and also
Dude.
the secret that you don't have a face.
Do you want to pet him?
Yes,
I'm very
please.
patable.
Yeah.
Fi-
Yes, you are.
Fish comes over, like doesn't toss to Kekino, but specifically
Mhm.
walks him over, stands next to Cal, and goes, "Here."
She's still like kneeling on the floor, and she goes, "Thank you."
They take the sunglasses off her head and put them on.
Yeah.
Okay. Clams. It's
Those
going to
aren't
be
mine. You're gonna have
Ah,
to
they're
give them
mine
back to
now.
center. That's not how that works.
Yes, it
That's
is.
fine, actually. You know
Do you
what?
need them?
Honestly, being underground, sunglasses, I can see that now. Sunglasses is overpacking.
Well, look, no.
They were helpful.
When I'm using
Right.
Eldritch Sight, I can't fucking see because it's so bright. Let me try again.
Eldritch Sight. You get a much better sense of kind of where the magic is flowing in this room, and you can see that there is now a kind of pathway of magic that is no longer active because nobody is standing in this kind of activation circle, and you can see more magic going deeper into the facility. Whatever happened with people walking in, it turned everything on. And it's not just that the lights are on in this room, the lights are on in the whole facility. Whatever was active is on, and you do hear kind of noises in the background of something going.
Okay, well, Fish like conveys pathways to May, and keeps the joke to themselves, but Ink will tell all of you what the joke is, which is this place is like me. Turns everything on.
God. While Cal is still kneeling and holding Kakano, and Kakano being like clutched to her bosom, can tell that her heart is like pounding. Like she's like,
It's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Think about clams
what if the
and
next room's the same?
fabric.
And I have to do this over and over again.
If the next room's the same, we will deal with it. Or he's like slapping you in his excitement. Or you hold me in front of your head, and then I'm your face, and then it's Kekino face. That could work.
Yeah, I guess that could work. Want to do this? Don't want to do this.
I will be your face. 'Cause you don't have any face, he says, turning to the others. I will
Fish is
be
still
your
standing
face.
right. Fish is still standing right there. Can
Yeah.
they hear that she's muttering to herself? This, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
She's not being super quiet because she is still kind of talking to Kakano.
okay. Well, then they look at her, take the sunglasses off. Oh fuck, still can't see.
Eldritch sight off. Now sunglasses up.
Yeah, that's the way. Listen, Dania, you really are worried about this place, aren't you?
Yes.
How can I help?
There's nothing to do. You'll be fine. You, like a cockroach, I'll be fine. Just working on making sure metal makes it out. And I don't know, try to drag out my body if you can. I don't want the necromancers coming in here. That's going to cause all sorts of other problems.
Well, I've got this life gem, holding it between two fingers. So, you know, how about I just stick by you?
But you're not very, I mean, you're usually distracted anyways. So I don't know, maybe give it to metal.
That's a good idea. Do you want to hear a joke?
Still, is it going to be a good joke?
I hope so.
A lot of Dad's jokes are good jokes.
I haven't laughed at a single one, Kakano.
Not even the one. Did he tell you the one where there was the clown that farted?
No, they haven't.
It's not one of my best.
Is that the one you were going to tell me?
No. Although I will just quickly ask, like, do you have, like, a lot of cultural context for, like, classic jokes? Like, why did the X do the Y?
I don't think so. No, that doesn't sound familiar.
Oh, okay. I'll just try and give you some context. Do you remember when we were on Fields' farm and Isle found that chicken that we were all was like, it looks like you because it was black and had this, it was silky. So, like, necromancers can be like chickens, right? So, why did the necromancer chicken cross the road? To get to the other side, like the other side of life and death.
Jokes are funnier when you explain them. It means I get it.
Well, Kakano enjoyed it.
Yes.
Fish
Cal's
is actually
trying
a
to
little.
see.
Fish is
Oh,
actually
go
a little
ahead.
bit like genuinely hurt. Like, okay, I was trying. Fuck off. Then they, without a word, they all just stand up and take the left gen and give it to Metal, and then go and be standing with Isle.
Cal's still having floor time. She's gonna have floor time as long as she's allowed.
Metal's like, are you sure you want me to hold on to this?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Can
When I was gonna say when Cal is like, oh, take my body out so the necromancers don't come in and get it. Sinner looks at May and they show this look of like, what the fuck? And then
can so May's like heard part of that at least? Like, is
Yeah.
it audible that Cal's unhappy to May?
Once the part, the bit that she was talking to Kakano, I think would not be audible to May. The part that she was talking to Fish would be.
Okay, cool. I think May would, as like, you know, the person who's like responsible ultimately, well, she feels ultimately she's responsible for the safety of these people, even if she's not really convinced that it's a good idea to have them here yet. She sees that Cal is obviously very upset and cautiously approaches and like gauges, I guess, Cal's reaction to her approaching if Cal sees her.
She just sort of like tilts her head up, still veiled, and is just very clearly like waiting orders.
Okay.
Definitely does not seem this as like a friend approaching, sees this as a superior officer who's upset that she's setting and not working.
Okay. May kneels down in front of her, like kind of mirroring, because I imagine you're kneeling kind of like in the Japanese style. Is that about?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So May mirrors that and kneels in front of her and says, "Hello, Jenny. I'm I do just want to say I really, really appreciate you taking the risk. I'm not sure how you managed to confound the senses, but I'm frankly really glad you did. Do you need a moment to regroup before we move on to the next room? We can maybe look at the symbols while you take a second, maybe have some water. Or what do you need?
That sounds fine. I'll be fine. I'm a necromancer. I can handle anything.
Well, I know the first time that I came into a Dixer like this, I had a brush with not death, but it wasn't exactly safe experience, and it took me quite aback, and I took quite a bit to recover from it. So I think we're going to take a couple of minutes. Maybe you can do some breathing exercises or whatever you need to feel better.
The seal is all I need.
And you can see, like, even in a kind of like a self-deprecating way, but I do think you can hear like a bit of a smile in her voice when she says that. It's not like a happy thing, but just being like, it is what it is.
Okay.
I know what my own responses are, and I'm not terribly worried about myself. Not that that's necessarily comforting, but
Okay. May goes out as if to touch her on the shoulder, but then thinks better of it, and then stands up and brushes off her knees, and goes over to Metal and says, "So just to be 100% certain, he is not in the fucking room. Please tell me he is not here."
He's not in the room. He's totally out there. I'm 100% sure.
Excellent. And then May kind of like sags in relief, and like I'm just gonna, for the sake of like the vibe, imagine that Sinner's like right behind her because he's like on edge himself, and kind of like weakly like pats his chest in relief.
Sinner, you've noticed like genuinely after you're like, I can confirm he's not in the room, kind of like shrinks in a little bit, and then you realize that like the entire time he's been in this room, he's been walking like with really big wide arms and strides to like potentially hit somebody if they're invisible. And he's like, oh, thank God. And as Cal sits and recovers, you'll hear a very quiet, mental Kekano voice. I love you, Collegianus.
Cal, in the quietest voice that I don't think anyone would be here, leans forward, kisses Kekano on the top of the veil, and says, "I love you too." On top of the head through the veil, I should say.
Yeah. Sinner is kind of looking around with you guys, and it's just kind of like, so do we like continue with the mission, or do we kind of wait until he hopefully leaves and then open the door again and
I
maybe
don't
tie
think
him
he's.
up and come back?
I don't think he's going to leave anytime soon. To be honest with you,
I think haste.
Yeah.
Haste would be on our side in this. If we can try to be aware of any sort of trap and obstacle as soon as possible, we will know sooner if there's anything we'll need to retreat to be able to fully conquer any puzzle that we need assistance to solve or anything like that.
May takes out a notepad from her pack. So I think it's fair to say she would have one.
Oh yeah.
And says, and sketches out the symbol she saw that said enemy, the symbol she saw that said faceless, and maybe like a generic symbol that has something to do with traps. If we can get away with that, if you're comfortable with that, Patrick.
Yeah.
Holds it up to the group with a pen, points them, and explains each one, and says, "If any of you see any of these symbols, tell me immediately." It may just be they happen to be in there. That's how language generally works, or it could be actually a part of some sort of activation device. So these are what we want to keep an eye on. Besides that, I do agree with the cleric. I don't think Snare is going to be very easy to catch, even if we do bother going back outside. I think we proceed if everyone's in agreement. Excellent.
Ellie, I have a quick player question. The switch from Collisionist to Cleric, is that an Ellie switch, or did May genuinely decide to like start referring to her by title?
Was she referring to her as Collisionist
Collisionist in the
before?
first one, which I
Oh,
didn't
okay,
mind.
fuck.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember which one it was. So
Absolutely.
I was like,
No,
I'll go through the
absolutely.
description.
I just wanted to know if you wanted to make that as a call of, was that
Yeah,
a character decision or an Ellie decision?
that was an Ellie decision because I couldn't remember.
Oh yeah, no worries. Okay, cool. So it's been Cleric the whole time.
Yeah, let's say Claire for now because
Hey,
she's being
hey,
very
okay.
respectful. Yeah. I'm gonna write that down. Sorry.
Question for Patrick.
Mhm.
From May writing down the symbols and showing it to the group, can I get a -2 on my symbol rolls now?
Not quite yet, but you will get a -2.
You're so greedy, Patrick.
I'm
let us
so
have
greedy.
this.
You will get a -2 after you either get through these ruins completely and therefore getting exposure to them, or you get another full lesson time with May, whichever comes first.
Okay.
And then before we move on, I want to share with the rest of the group the Root Warden vision that May had, just to see if anyone has any thoughts. So May does that.
That sounds cool.
Yeah,
It was
I
very cool.
also agree. That sounds cool. Like
Does
Does
Fish
Fish
go,
sound that
haha, the
bummed?
warden?
Rooney, what'd you say?
I said, does Fish actually sound that bummed?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. This hurts the Mooney. I don't know if Cal notices, but it hurts me.
So what did you say, Bia?
They don't even go, haha, the fuck warden?
No, they don't. Even though they
Rip.
do have that reference because they are from New Zealand,
New Zealand.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
which none of you know yet.
No.
Yeah, boss, are you sure this is like a city? It doesn't seem like a city thing to have, you know. I don't know, that's just me.
Even if it's not a city, I think that it's some sort of. I don't think it's a living space, but I do think it's some sort of facility. And
Gotcha.
I do have to wonder just how connected everything is. So, like I said before, let's be on the lookout for those particular symbols because I get the sense that everything is connected. So, if this room has activated, it's quite possible. I think that it's activated things elsewhere.
All right.
It absolutely has.
Love it.
But
Well, I'll very, very carefully just kind of peek my head out this doorway and scout ahead while you're looking at all the symbol stuff.
Cool. Nice happy with that. Please tell me that Sinner has a fantastic perception.
Let's see. Sinner has
No, but his butt looks really
-1.
good when he peeks his head around the door.
-1 to perception.
Fuck you, Gal.
Hence why he had to follow Cal to the woods to make sure she was peeing. So that means he rolled a hot 8. So he comes back almost immediately and says, yeah, there wasn't a lot to see. It was just a short hallway and then kind of like a door at the end of the hallway and like a door going into another room.
May is not impressed by that. May rolls her own perception roll.
and also, so Fish is over with Isle and just sort of like crouching a little bit. Looks at her, looks at the thing, squeezes Isle's hand a bit, like, gotta go fucking be useful for once in my goddamn life. Sunglasses on, Eldritch Sight on, over to the next thing.
Alright, I'm gonna roll my
Okay.
perception. Hopefully
Yeah,
between the
both
two
of you
of us
roll
things.
perception. We'll do, yeah, no, both of you roll perception.
26.
7.
26 and 7. What
Fantastic.
Fish sees is some of the kind of energy pathways is flowing into the room that's beyond the closed door, and most of it seems to be going down the hallway towards deeper into the facility. With a 26,
That sure is magic.
Yeah, that sure is magic. With a 26, it is exactly as Sinner described. It's just a short tiny little chunk of hallway with a door almost directly across from your room into seemingly another room, and a door on the end, seeming to lead deeper in the hallway. With a 26, you do also see the 2 traps that are in that small hallway.
Good, thank Christ.
That center completely missed.
Classic. Okay, can I tell what type of traps they are? Are they just like simple traps?
Yeah, they're uh, each of them you can just kind of passively tell activate something,
Oh, God.
um, without knowing, without like studying it. You can't tell exactly what it is, but um, you may be able to. You know how you can kind of like sneak up on it without tripping it off if you want to examine it
Yeah,
closely or
let's
try
do
to
that.
disable it. Okay. Give me a symbol check.
Okay. That is a 9. What is it again? Plus anything?
+3.
Plus 3, yeah. So 12.
Okay. With a 12, you manage to kind of get around this first trap, and you find a symbol that you think is really important to its activation, and you just kind of scratch a big new mark in it so the symbol becomes something else.
Cool.
And you're fairly certain that deactivated it.
Okay. What about the second one? Or I got another one for that.
Second one's a little bit farther down. I'm saying with the second one, you can't, with just a 12, you can't really see a way to approach it, with it, without setting it off. It seems like the important symbols are on the other side of the trap in the hallway.
Okay. I stick
And
my head back
you
into
can go into the other room without, now that you've deactivated this first one, you can get into the other room without setting off
yeah.
any traps. It's only if you try to go in deeper.
Okay. I communicate my successful disarming of the trap to the team. And like gesture in, like, let's go to the next room.
All right. The next room for Colliginous is where you've been sensing the human remains.
Cal goes, goody. Can I roll something like a constitution check or like a wisdom saving throw, kind of like Adine and freshman year of just like how well she's dealing with like the panic attack with Kekano's help?
Give me a wisdom saving throw, and Kekno will give you the help action, so make it with
Okay,
advantage.
cool. Oh, all right. Oh, I didn't realize I got that much added to my saving throws. That's gonna be a 15.
Okay. With a 15, Kekano is kind of doing his little copy of Swifty's purr in your lap, which is
Oh.
just him verbally going, because he can't really make the noise like a cat.
Mm-hmm.
And you give him pets while sitting in the corner. Elle, you're muted. Oh, okay. Um, you give him pets in the
It's the
corner.
guy.
Yeah,
I see him in the
the
mirror.
man in the mirror. Yeah. Um,
I'm
um,
looking at.
you
Visual comedy.
you are sitting in the you're sitting in the corner, Kekino, purring and giving him some pats and thinking back to when you were in the temple, when you first started veiling much more seriously, and at that point, you were pretty much never veiled when you were alone or when you were with your sister. That was only an outside thing. And even after she left, that stayed an outside thing. Your room was a safe place. So, as kind of horrifying and traumatizing it is, I think with a 15, Cal kind of settles on that was horrible, but nobody saw me. And if nobody saw me, it's like it didn't happen.
Yep. All right. She puts Kakano down to stand up and then kind of
puts her hands out and she goes, "Do you want to go back with me, or do you want to go back to your father?"
I heard the others maybe talking about traps.
Well, you shouldn't go anywhere until the traps are disabled.
Okay, but like I think, I wanted to slide around on the floor and kind of poke my nose into things and explore a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's a good idea if there's traps.
I agree.
Because there could be like a mouse trap or something that snaps
There could
closed
be
on the
something in
window.
the tile. No, I agree.
So maybe I'll just stay with you and I'll ride on your head.
I'm honored. Thank you.
As all of you sort of start to pack up and leave this room, opening the door into the other room, the door is much lighter than the door that got you in here, so it just scrapes a tiny bit as you push it open. And as it opens, it reveals a much larger room than the one you've been in. Um, it's much larger room, and almost immediately, maybe 10, 15 feet from the door, you see a table laid out with a seemingly human skeleton.
Like sitting at the table, or it's on the table. Like
Laying on the table as
okay,
if like almost like on display. Give me a perception check,
yeah,
actually, if you're gonna walk into the room first.
it's a 24.
24. With a
Like,
It's his
24,
bones.
with a
These
24,
bones are
This is
so
skullduggery
bones.
pleasant. He's lying in a seductive pose.
yes. No, it cannot be skullduggery pleasant because with your very high roll, you see that this complete skeleton has been laid out on a table, almost like for display, or even it looks like a research table, like someone was working on the table and the skeleton was the project. You see some like tools scattered around the body.
Type of
What's
tools.
what's interesting, some strange kind of blades and claws, some things that remind you of kind of like arcanist equipment, things that you would use to inscribe little symbols and stuff like that, and some things that are just kind of totally alien to you. Um, but you see that the skeleton is mostly fine and whole, except about halfway down its femur, the bone turns black and then is twisted around 3 times as like a corkscrew, not broken, as if it was like melted and twisted, and then it turns back to normal for the foot, which is backwards.
Can I roll for Arcana?
Yeah,
Can I roll to see the tools?
sure.
For 10 for me.
Nat 20. 22.
Hey!
yo,
Okay,
Yeah, it's been waiting.
22 for your tool roll. And what was the Arcana check?
Sorry, 10 for me.
10 for the Arcana. Um, you've never really read about something exactly like this. It's kind of strange. It did the not just the twisting, but like the black of the bones. You can see it's not like it's a coating or anything. The bone is black, and you can see it kind of shift to gray a little bit at the edges. It's seemingly, something that got in here. With a 10, I think you're like, maybe this happened while this person was alive, perhaps? Um, maybe an effect of some spell or magical thing? With a 22, some of it honestly kind of reminds you of tattooing equipment you've seen in your books. Not just like your little needles, but like kind of the old kind of hammers and kind of like little like rakes and stuff that you use to do shading on traditional tattoos and stuff like that. Yeah, some of that looks familiar for that reason, and a lot of it is kind of the same. Like you recognize some equipment from Goph's workshop of being like, clearly this is a much more primitive version of what Goph was using to inscribe symbols on that thing he was working on. Um, but about 50%, even with a natural 20, about 50% of the tools are like I could probably guess what they are designed to like go to. This one is like, oh, it's really thin and looks really flimsy, so it probably wasn't like a physical thing. It's not like a wrench because it's not strong enough. So maybe that's like a entirely magical implement or something like that. But exactly why, you're not sure of.
I think it's very cool, even if they don't
Yeah.
recognize half of them, and go over, just, fucking crossing the room, free balling it, to go and have a closer look, and even kind of glancing to May to be like, hey, look at this cool shit. You'd understand, right?
You walk in deeper to the room, and as you step, you hear a click as a tool that has fallen off a table. You just kind of kick it, and it just kind of like skitters across the floor. And that's it.
For God's sake. I know.
With
Going
May's
to
roll,
get
does
more
she see any of like any problematic symbols in the room that indicate traps?
Interestingly enough, this room, unlike the last room, is not wall-to-wall symbols. There seems to be areas that are specifically symbols, and it looks like over the table with the skeleton is a big spiral of symbols. Nothing about traps that you can see, but with that perception check, you see a couple of concerning symbols in there, not necessarily signifying danger, but kind of signifying not great stuff. There's symbols of death, and then you're like, oh shit. And then it's like, okay, no, this is death, the participle, which you link to this uh, uh, other symbol, and that means past death. Okay. And there's some things about kind of like soul something, like soul anchoring, soul transferal, something like that. And with that high perception check, you also see as the room opens out, off to your left, you can start to see some racks and equipment and other work tables without bones. Off to your right, you see cages containing some full skeletons, like in man-sized cages.
Okay. I think. Actually, hold on. Does Fish notice anything about the tool they kicked? Or is it just like a random tool that happens to be?
Um,
So I want to give Ink the chance
I
to.
think I think Fish doesn't recognize the tool, but with that incredibly high roll, as well as kicking it, also bringing it to Cal's attention, I want Cal to roll Arcana or Religion with advantage. Take
Can
advantage
I
of
show off
pick.
and guess what this is without even rolling?
Sure, you can try.
This is a tracking symbol for a necromancer in their femur.
No.
No? Is it in the same place though?
It is in broadly the same place. It's a little bit lower than the femur tracking is.
Gotcha. But can I get advantage on that from Kekno being on my head?
No, I said Fish is giving you advantage.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
You're welcome.
That
That was an in character thing just now. By the way,
Yeah,
the nicest interaction they've ever had.
well, Cal rolled like shit, so no thanks to you, Fitch. No, I'm kidding. It's the anxiety. So, for her, it was what? You said Arcana, right?
Arcana or
Yeah.
Religion, but
Okay,
I think
it was either. It doesn't really matter because it's the same. So I'll say it's a Arcana, and that's a
13, which is very low for Cal.
Okay. With a 13, Fish is like, look at all this cool shit, and kicks something across the floor. Maybe picks something up and shows it to you, and then you're like, oh, I think that's a soul knife. I think that's from ripping a living soul out of a body. That's
Cool.
heresy. Let's not touch that.
Yeah. She's kind of is Kekano still balancing on her head?
Yes.
Is Kekano good at doing that? Cal's got a small
Yes.
head.
Yes. Yes, he is.
Okay.
He's Velcro.
Okay, got it.
Kekano is using both his flippers, his full tail, and any kind of like give of his
Clench.
squishy body to just be like.
Gotcha. So Cal's
Lock
walking over
in.
with her cat, and she's going to what, take the tool from Fish, or were they just like gesturing?
Oh,
Probably
okay.
just
So
gesturing with it.
here's how it went. They were like, "Oh, it's fucking cool." Oh, it's you. Drops it on the ground and looks away.
She's gonna pick it up and look at it, and is going, and I'll tie this into why she's maybe not getting as much. She's like, what's their problem? Just in her head though, and not necessarily even like rolling for that. Just being like, oh, and then she looks at the knife and she's like, oh no.
Don't want to touch that. Okay, everybody kind of goes into the room, kind of goes
Yeets
deeper,
it and kicks it.
and explores a little bit more. Does everybody explore
And
the
now
room?
I'm gonna do my bony bone checks and just go from skeleton to skeleton.
The sense of something being human but wrong is stronger now that you're even closer, and now you can get why. Whatever is happening with this femur is kind of what's throwing you off. And as you turn a corner, you see more skeletons on tables. Some of them are incomplete, missing large portions of it. One is like just a rib cage, but pretty much all of them have some dark black spot, and that looks like it was kind of melted.
Are they all
And
adults?
they are mostly adults, seemingly. And you also kind of at the edge of your sense, which you realize is kind of the other side of the room for you, because this is a rather large room.
Mm-hmm.
You see, or rather, you sense bones. Not human.
Oh god.
Not at all.
On the other side of this room, right?
Yep.
Can I do a Arcana / maybe like Mage Hand to look over at that side of the room and see if I feel like that's more like warded? I would say if Cal was on friendly speaking terms, she'd ask for Eldritch Save from Mage, but I don't think that's realistic.
As the rest of you spread out into the room, you also see. I did notice the chat was called Big Pissin like an hour ago. I don't know who did that,
Mm-hmm.
I just noticed.
Probably Vienna.
Who could it be?
but
I will say Ellie wrote it. I simply elevated.
named it
King
that.
method.
Yes. You all see more of the room, which seems to be this interesting kind of somewhat spiral where it's a large room, but then there's other like smaller, maybe like the room itself is probably like 15 feet high, and there's like 8-foot walls seemingly kind of scattered randomly, and it creates almost like this pseudo maze that goes deeper and deeper in the middle into other workstations, and you all see these bodies that are pretty fucked up. And I think May goes off to one side, probably sees a large collection of suits of armor that are identical to the ones that you just left. And next to it on a table, you see a skeleton, much blacker than the others, whose full skull bones have melted together into a clean face and has sort of dripped down into the rib cage, seemingly before resolidifying. And I think probably that's what makes this click for you. And so with your previous roles and kind of this new information, I think you go, oh, this may be people who were touched by the faceless ones. Maybe not possessed by them, maybe not serving as vessels for them, not the equivalent of kith, but it may literally be like someone who came in physical contact with a faceless one and had just corrupted and melted and messed with them as these kind of extra dimensional chaotic energies interfaced with this physical mortal being. And with Cal's uh, check, you were going to say Arcana, or you were going to just send out a mage hand?
I just wanted to check if that area of the room was more booby trapped.
Give me a perception check then, if it's for booby traps.
All right.
And I will say Kekino is helping you, because he is a good boy who's keeping a good eye out.
Cool. Perception. That's 17.
Okay. With a 17, you don't think that side of the room is trapped. Wherever this non-human body is, you can't see it. There's a couple of walls and some stuff in the way, just of like where you know
I
it
love
is.
that.
You've got to kind of move around to be able to get a clear line of sight on it. But you do get the sense that there's no traps, but there is something kind of where the body would be, or the start of something. It doesn't seem like a trap, but it seems like perhaps a magical effect of some kind.
Kakano starts singing the dog in the elevator song from TikTok to Cal.
Oh, I was gonna say the High School Musical song. It's the start of something new.
Something new. Those bones are fucked. They're gonna kill you.
Yeah, we had a brilliant lyricist.
The song Mooney is referring to is "She's okay, she's well behaved, she is not afraid, she's
Oh.
powerful, she's a good girl, she is my whole world."
Yeah, Kakano has access to TikTok, and their name's Cal.
Yeah.
Their time of need.
Do you call anyone over, or do you just let them kind of walk around the room with no warning?
Cal is gonna take a very deep breath, and she's going to go, and she's gonna raise a hand and point where it is, or where it is approximately, and she's going to go, the remains of something not human or animal.
Oh, a fungus.
That's where they
cool.
are.
Eldritch Sight.
Sinner is sticking with May and is just like, non-human. Wait, you mean these things are human? Just like pointing to the fucked up body. Ugh.
They were.
I think May interjects at this point because she's had her epiphany, and in a very calm way, but like I feel like she's both excited, but also kind of like, okay, this is a bit more serious than I thought it was going to be. Says, I think that we're in some sort of experimentation facility because these people have been touched by the faceless ones at some point, corrupted, and I suspect they were testing them, perhaps to try to either cure them or figure out how to put them down more effectively.
Okay.
Religionist, cleric.
It's okay. It's okay if you mess up. It's good character work.
Cleric, can you sense anything about what those remains might be besides the fact that they're not human?
I haven't.
I will say you can give me an Arcana check to try to give more information, and I will say Fish did Eldritch Sight. You can see a like protective ring of energy on that side of the room. You can't quite see what it is surrounding, but it is kind of like not like sealing something in, but seems like more the equivalent of like it caution, do not cross in a way, and has a little bit of sealing magic on it. And you can see that generally the magic in here kind of runs to the various tables and some of the sections of symbols, as well as seeming a lot of them running to one side of the room, which May wandered over to. You can see ranks upon ranks upon ranks of seemingly empty suits of armor.
Flat Arcana or with advantage?
Sorry, what? Flat Arcana?
Flat Arcana or with advantage?
I'm not sure how Kekino would be able to help with your death sense, so I think
He
Flat
sang his TikTok song for me.
He is singing his TikTok song.
Okay, well, Flat then it was just a 15.
Okay. With a 15, you get kind of the sense of not what these bones belong to, but kind of what they are physically. And just because you've done, as part of necromancer training, probably a lot of dissections, things like that. You kind of know animal bones or something like that. This is a very dense quantity of bones. Whatever this is, it is kind of large, certainly larger than a person, even somebody like Sinner. And it's a very, very dense bone structure, much more dense than humans are.
Would Fish have ever heard about the theory that May is familiar with, that the ancients might have just been giants?
Cal does know that, we'll say.
I will say you can give a history check to know that for Fish.
I mean, bro, if the ceilings are high, we know. Is
Yeah,
there a
that's the thing.
giant toilet somewhere?
Not that you've seen. Not that you've seen so far.
But yeah,
Nine.
well, I was just gonna say that I think Cal is like, if you made me guess an ancient, but I don't know. I didn't even know if I believed the ancients were inhuman before.
But there's a thing around it, like Carmine's shield around the farm to
Yes.
stop either it getting out or us getting in.
You
I
could
feel
all
like I'm
get
gonna.
close enough
I think
to
I'm
be
gonna
able to
go
see
back.
it.
What
Think you're
were
gonna
you,
go back?
what were you saying, Patrick?
I was just saying, any of you can kind of move to get an angle and see it without getting closer than. Well, you
May
could probably
does that
still be like
immediately.
20
I will
feet
try
out.
to perceive. I will
Cal,
see what's up.
and Cal is hanging back, but she's like, Miss Gladly, remember your little mantra about this being like a museum? I would implore you to also follow that.
What do you mean by Fish saying like just gets out of there?
Just as like I don't mean it as like they're literally gonna skedaddle, but they think it's what they're thinking, it's what they verbalize, like, hey, at any second I'm going to run.
Yeah. Hey
Yeah,
guys,
Cal.
this is not it. Let's
Yeah,
just
Cal.
let's just
I
cut
Cal
our
don't like it.
losses.
It's not fun anymore.
Yeah, Cal makes
You know
an
what?
eye
We'll
to
send
Veil.
Kitsune in here. If he survives,
He
can
then
do
maybe we go
it.
on and
He can
explore
step
another
in.
day.
He's on
He
the
can
bench,
take the
but we can
cursed
take him
amulet.
in. He's our water boy. Cal makes eye to veil contact with Fish and like gives a nod.
Fish
As-
shakes their head.
No, I mean, I also don't think we should approach. I just know Miss Gladly will, regardless.
What are you saying? I'm approaching this giant skeleton. As
I'm gonna touch
This is
it.
I'm
Don't.
inside it. I can fit my whole skeleton in their skeleton.
okay, as
This is
what
where
is
we prove the skeleton fucker mantra.
Where is Metal in all this? Because Isle,
Yeah.
May, and Sinner are coming around the corner to look at the skeleton and get eyes on it. What is Metal doing?
I feel like Metal is hanging back with whoever else is hanging back.
Yeah,
Okay.
Cal is keeping an eye on Metal and is just gonna give her like a vibe check because she,
Yeah, how's Metal doing?
yeah,
Yes.
She doesn't know anything that's happening, so she's just kind of like, I'm gonna follow the smart people and make sure they're okay. But she
is
is
she like go ahead, sorry.
you go ahead.
Is she excited nervous or scared nervous?
I think she's spooked,
Okay.
nervous.
Yeah.
I think since most people aren't like vocalizing their thoughts for the most part, they're just kind of doing like silent senses. It's probably like all of you went into a room and Metal was like, "Oh, it's a big room. It's creepy in here. There's a bunch of bodies.
I like it.
Yeah, faceless ones.
Cal
What?
Silent
Cal puts
except for Tekano singing.
Yeah.
Cal puts her fingertips on Metal's back and she says, well, if they set off anything, they're all rather strong, except Miss Gladly, but I don't know, she's kind of collateral damage, and we can run, and I feel the two of them would catch up.
How dare
I'm
you?
just gonna
As
kind of like
May,
it.
Sinner, and Isle turn the corner and get eyes on this thing for the first time, you see what is very clearly kind of this security inlaid in a arc around this thing where it is up against the outer wall. So even without kind of eldritch sight or symbol knowledge, you can kind of see something's there. You see a giant skeleton that seated is about 15 feet tall.
God.
And it has very thick tree trunk like limbs.
Ew.
And it general kind of a very stout
Yes,
like
fuckface.
it is a very like
I wasn't
stout
gonna say it.
Jesus. It's bones. Not
Where do you
human
think you
bones.
are, Patrick?
Did you read the book, baby? Did you read the
Literally.
books?
I can't
I
believe
read
you
the
thought
room.
its bones would be like a reasonable argument against
deterrent.
this group of
Non-human
people.
bones. Bones are only sexy when they're
I
human.
read Ancient Mage's Bride, bitch.
Okay, that's fair.
Patrick,
Uh,
are any of the
just
bones twisted? Like
just to
able
finish
tell-
the description very quickly, you see it is kind of like stout in appearance. It's very broad as well, and its head, it has seemingly sockets for 3 sets of eyes in this rather kind of oversized head, as well as almost like tusks, but they kind of come out from the back of the head and point forward. And you see absolutely no kind of corruption, no faceless ones twisting or melting or anything like that. What you do see is seemingly every um, every surface on this skeleton is carved with symbols.
Do any of them stand out to me? Or shall I roll for that maybe?
Yeah, give me a symbol check.
Yeah. That is 17.
With the 17, you do notice some symbols of binding, of sealing, and of transference. And you do actually see that some of the symbols in the walls do seem to be like running, like carved into the walls, but they seem to be running from kind of like where the skeleton's back meets the walls. And I think with a 17, you get the sense that like whatever this thing is, why ever it's here, it's kind of like tied into the system somehow. Um, which is probably uh, why, which is mainly what you're looking at when a sort of purple orb, almost like a still flame, appears within the skull and swivels to one of the eye sockets looking at you.
Does it move, or it's just that it's like the eyes come on?
Just like the equivalent of a magical eye opening, looking right at you.
Mooney.
Fuck.
May like holds out her arms to like stop anyone coming closer. Do the
Sinner sees
skeletons
this and just like activates his gauntlets and just like lifts his hands up like
May pulls his elbow down. May's like, no, don't worry,
oh.
like don't react. Is the skeleton's eye following any of this movement?
Yes.
Okay. Having a big think. I'm just going to. What was that?
Just sounds of like grinding and scraping come out of like ring from within the skeleton. And then there's a moment and the eye sort of flares and then gets smaller again. And you hear, still in a language, you can tell it's not speaking English, but in some way it is translated to you as you hear it. Who comes?
Sorry, can you repeat that without the voice badger? Just because I couldn't
Who
hear
comes?
It. Oh, he comes.
Anyone who's been with Fish, baby.
Fish is not seeing this on the other side of the room, doesn't hear this. Everybody goes, oh, and then Fish, for reasons unknown, goes, everybody who's with me, baby. And everybody's like, what the hell are you talking about? Nothing. It felt appropriate. Something. Just there was something happening, and that was the response.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
May's going to take a bit of a risk and say the root warden has sent me.
The root warden is gone. Give me a perception check.
Yeah. That is 14.
There is a very small clank. As you see on the other side of the room, the ranks and ranks of empty suits of armor twist their head to point at you.
Does May see this?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just thinking. May kind of looks like nods of acknowledgement, and says, how long has the root warden been gone for?
Has time passed? Much time in darkness.
Skeletons. Sorry, the armor's not doing anything then?
It seems like this skeleton itself hasn't even twitched. All of the movement has been entirely in this kind of glowing, like, purple flame eye, kind of going back and forth and focusing on you. Focusing on Sinner when he twitches, and then focusing back on you. And the suits of armor kind of reacting.
As this conversation is like continuing, Cal's gonna give Metal a pat on her back, give Kekano to Fish, and then slowly approach with the rest of these fucking idiots talking to a demon skeleton.
Genuinely
Metal's
thought you were
like-
gonna be like, okay guys, time to go. Leave them to their fates.
Yeah, I will say that is probably the last thing she says. She goes, get ready to run.
When
Metal's like reaching out, like
when she
just very
passes
sadly.
When she passes Kekano to Fish, they're going, "What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing?"
The dad. I would feel I would regret it if I did not at least try to commune with the dead and help them, even if I do think this is an incredibly stupid idea. So you two run if you need to run.
That's
I'll do my best.
That's like a 15-foot skeleton. I don't think you need to commune with the dead right now.
Miss Gladly already is. Might as well have an expert.
I hold on to Fish and kick it out.
Fish like puts their arm around Metal, like in a very, it's okay, you're safe with me, even though like we're not safe, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Cal nods. She approves. Like she gives like a nod of approval, and then takes a big enough breath you guys can actually hear her do it, and then like marches up to this fucked up skeleton.
I will also say the three of you are not in a position where you can see the skeleton necessarily because you didn't get close enough. You are all in a position
We just know
that
it's fucked.
Yes, you know something's fucked
You
up.
just-
And I heard somebody talking with not being able to pick up the other voice, and I'm like, well, that's not Isle or Sinner. Fuck.
But where you all are, you can see the suits of armor, so you all do see them turn their head and look in the direction of May, just to be further unsettled.
Okay.
I reckon the skeleton's connected to the skeleton's obviously connected to the armor. I reckon it's like directly controlling them or bound to them. May like observing all the symbols that are meeting the skeleton where it's sitting at the back. Again, it's like she's keeping a very level tone, but like she's still kind of got her hand on Cinna's arm, like in sort of a like don't react, but she's like also ready to like go, as in like fight, not run.
You can feel Sinner's arm muscle twitching and vibrating under your hand because Sinner deals with problems by punching them, and this does not seem like a problem he wants to punch, but God, is he ready to.
Yeah, May is going to use magical telephony again and just actually to the whole group and be like, stay calm. So to the whole group, anyone listening says, stay calm. It's behind some sort of protection. I can tell from the symbols in the wall, on the floor. I think it has something to do with the suits of armor, and I think it can give us some information as to how to proceed throughout the rest of the facility. And then she speaks to the skeleton and says, it looks to me like you're connected to everything in here. Who are you exactly? What are you?
Prisoner. Jailed.
Cal is going to look at May, realize that she probably shouldn't. I can hear this now that I'm closer up, right?
Now you get closer.
By the way, Moon, just for everyone, if May ever uses magical telephony to you, you can respond telepathically.
Gotcha. It's like a message.
Yeah.
Okay. Cal is going to look at May, realize that she's not going to like this, but does it anyways, and she's going to say, I'm a necromancer. Would you like me to sever you from this world and so you can move on?
Sever me from prison. Yes, sever.
Not this room. You will not be free in this room, but you will be free to go to your afterlife.
Sever.
Okay.
Sever.
At which point, May turns to Cal and is like, what are you doing? You really think that that'll work on a creature of this power?
Everything wants to die. Everything wants peace.
I think it wants to kill us more than anything.
Isle says, what did you do to get locked up in here?
Exist. Enemies of enemies of enemies.
Isn't that your friend?
Destroy.
I think it's a faceless one.
Small for a faceless one. That's me as Mooney.
Yeah.
It'd be
But,
very
like,
small for a faceless one.
But like, how else
It's
would they
baby.
be organizing this corruption?
Sinner,
you
it's
know?
Sinner's dad.
Papa? I thought you were dead.
I
Son,
think
I've
I
got
feel
a
like
baseball right here.
going
Can I
to be
just
a
say,
family.
around the corner, Fish and Metal are still like huddling together with Kekano between them, and Fish goes, Why did the necromancer chicken cross the road?
What?
Why did the necromancer chicken cross the road?
There aren't any chickens here. There's a skeleton in the next room.
I'm trying to make you feel better.
To get to the other side.
It's not even funny. I
Yes,
feel like
it
we're
is.
slowly.
So many L's.
I feel like we're slowly like holding on to each other, but we're like slowly tiptoeing like closer and closer. But like
Scooby Doo.
I don't like it.
Also, Cal sends a mage hand to high five Metal, which he learned yesterday. Not actually.
You don't do that while talking to the 15-foot skeleton god. You don't. That's on the docket.
Metal's like, come back again. God.
Oh,
Anyway.
I'm just imagining it like when Shaggy is holding Scooby or vice versa, and then there's that like
Yeah.
cartoon Hanna-Barbera noise of like.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Just two buddies.
I'm sorry. I'm addicted to inserting levity into any situation. I will mute myself
That's so
permanently.
pleasant, baby.
Yeah,
It's
that's just
so
what
needed.
happens in the series.
All right, back to Murder Skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
So is it still
Is
screaming?
your name
Stella?
Home Depot?
Home of
Nope. No,
Depot.
no.
We have to return him to his homeland. We have to take him back to Home Depot.
He was killed. He was put here by Lowe's.
He was trapped here by Lowe's, severed from the land of Orange.
He's going back to like the gardening department.
He needs to go
Very
back
sad.
to his gardening department cats. They miss him.
Patrick, just to confirm, the symbols that are carved into it, there was transference, binding, and sealing. Was that right?
Yes, a lot of symbols, a lot of different symbols that all kind of mean a lot of the same stuff, which is
Yep.
sealing and binding, and then transference. It seems like whatever this is, it is sealed to these bones, which means maybe this wasn't like its original body. Maybe this is just a powerful vessel to trap it in.
Anyone have any ideas?
Sever. Sever.
I was like, okay, pal, we get that you want to be severed. Can you give us information that would? Why should we sever you?
Information.
I don't know what information I would want from you.
Or foe. And when he says friend or foe, you get kind of like a psychic blast of two symbols, friend and foe. And because May showed it to you all, foe is the symbol of the faceless ones.
I'm thinking so hard right now.
Yeah.
What are you thinking I'm doing?
No.
Power. Arcane
There's nothing.
power.
there's nothing you could offer me.
And I will say, she is trying to be like, May, if you're gonna fucking do this, be a hard sell. She waiting for the higher offer.
May says, the only power I'm interested in is knowledge. What knowledge can you give me about this place, about who you are?
Secrets, plans, history, knowledge from beyond death. Much secrets.
Have you always been... Sorry, let me rephrase that. Are these bones yours, or have you been trapped here by something else?
Prison. Prison of bone.
Okay, I'm not doing it, but as May's like looking at everything, if May crosses the barrier, will she be able to get out of the barrier?
Give me another simple check.
Yeah, okay. And that is
Everybody jumps for her at the same time.
that's 22.
With a 22, you do get the sense that as soon as you cross that line, you will not be allowed back out in such a way as it is one way.
Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, with a 22, you do actually see a little bit of symbols within the ring that may cause deactivation. Essentially, you could walk in and then free yourself by deactivating the security entirely. But that would be the only way you could think of getting out.
Fuck, I also don't know what to do.
Fish calls out, "Nothing!"
I will say, I mean, I as a player will come up with things, but at this point, Cal's like shaking her head and is like, Miss Gladly, nothing is worth that. Nothing. It hasn't even told you what it's going to tell you. For all you know, it knows nothing, and it is making empty promises.
Cleric, how can you be so certain that severing it will actually send it on to the next life and not just?
Oh, I don't. I just want to. I don't like when souls are kept on this earth after their death. It is heretical. It is deeply disturbing.
May very begrudgingly turns back to the skeleton and says, if you can give us some more information, we'll consider letting you free of this prison. Isn't like severing, like we'll sever you. But we need to know more about what you are and what this place is. You keep giving us very vague answers.
You feel a presence in your mind as whatever this is sort of brute force shows images to you psychically. You see shadows of people. You see them experimenting. You see a set of hands working on bones that are twisted and warped by connection to the faceless. You see, um, you see research sketches that flash through your mind too quickly, chambers full of mysterious gases and poisons, chambers full of weapons, chambers full of secrets. Nothing that it never stays on any image long enough for you to actually glean information, but you get the sense that it is sharing that it knows everything that happened here and can give you this information.
Is everyone getting these
Yeah.
flashes?
No, just May.
Okay, cool.
May turns to Hal
I
And
also
Isle's up
want to
here as
say that the
well.
little means that Metal and Fish are probably at a point now where they can see the skeleton, but they're still like pretty far behind everyone else, like just kind of sneaking up a little bit, be like, "Oh, that's worse than I thought."
Oh, just ah, terrifying.
What did you want to say,
Metal's
Ellie?
trail.
I was going to say May turns to the rest of the group and says it knows more than it's letting on, but it could tell us everything we need to know about this place. And then she turns back to the skeleton and says, I've already told you that we'll let you go. What? Why are you withholding?
Proven liar.
Shouldn't have fucking said that before, should I? Okay.
Sinner is fully like,
Yeah.
Cal is like, Miss Gladley, you're a researcher. I am too. What is the pleasure? What is the satisfaction of getting every piece of information just told to you? You're not being kept from the ruins. You can explore it, find out things on your own, make your own discoveries. It's not worth it. And it'll be a half victory if you get that information.
You're not wrong, but I do like a first-hand source. That's all. Um,
There may be others. We've only been in one room. Maybe there are other skeletons who are less threatening.
no
May has to consider.
others.
Oh, yes, I absolutely trust you, being that is trying to convince us to free it.
You see images pushed into your mind of just a piece of bone that it's like you're getting somebody else's memory of a viewpoint, and you see a piece of bone that you recognize as like a piece of this thing's thigh bone as it carves in symbols, and you get the sense of uniqueness. This could be a lie, it could be the truth, but it is like showing you a piece of its creation for just a moment.
Cal doesn't share that information with the class. She's like, God, why is it why am I stuck here with the Krunks and me? We all have very bad charisma.
So,
She's gonna.
no, I'm just saying, is that Mooney saying, Ink, get your dumbass character over here?
I'm thinking about it, but I don't think May would listen to you more. I think Cal, with great disgust, is like, Sinner is like shaking his head and being like, nope, 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 right?
Yeah. Sinner is like, I don't understand what's happening. I just know not good.
Cal is gonna look at Sinner and just kind of like
Be like, we can just walk out of here. Even if some are not willing to do that.
Miss Gladley, I don't know what it said to you, but maybe we just take a little step away. Maybe we just we can come back later and see the creepy skeleton thing if we
Sleep
need to.
on it.
Metal's gonna pipe in and be like, yeah, I think he's right. We should just go.
If you're seeing this thing.
And can Isle roll to see if this is the most scared she's ever seen Sinner?
Yeah. Give me a. It's like history, but it's like self-history. I'd say insight.
16.
16. There were a couple of times, especially when you were both pretty young, and he was he was rather new to the game, where he wasn't even necessarily doing anything dangerous. He was just like keeping watch and looked really, really nervous. But so you've seen him really anxious before. That was when he was new. This is a full adult man who is seemingly a lot tougher than when you knew him when he was younger. And he looks like he is not ready to run away scared, but like that is what he would prefer to be doing.
Okay, I think Carly also, because I need to go in like half an hour.
Yep.
We'll tie that in. I think May sees, for a second, May is like staring at the skeleton and is really consumed by the thought, like, this thing could tell me everything that I've ever wanted to know about the ancients, and also like about these ruins. Like, this could unlock what I know. But when she glances back at the rest of the team, she sees how scared, uncomfortable, worried they are, and particularly sees how Sinner is freaking the fuck out. And I imagine he's probably like hiding it, but she spent enough time with him that she can tell that's not his usual expression. And that kind of brings her back to reality. And like also the fact that Cal has brought up some really legitimate points, which is this is only the first room. So with great reluctance, she takes her hand off Sinner's arm and clears her throat and says, "Yes, we can come back here later. That's an excellent point, Claret. Let's move on to the next room for now.
No later. Sever now.
May ignores this.
No later. Sever now. No
I was
later.
looking at
Sever now. Foe. 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 And you see one of the suits of armor has moved over to the door and slams it closed and seals it.
Party.
And we are gonna roll initiative for fight next time.
Metal's like, I think he's fine if we go. He said he's fine if we leave.
I actually asked the teacher, and it said I'm okay. It's okay if I go. I got a hall pass.
Yeah,
Bye.
I have a hall pass. I gotta go to study group. You're gonna fucking fight the guys that you avoided because Cal figured out how to get past security, and you managed to get the door slammed on Kitsune's face, because if he went across while invisible, it would have recognized someone invisible was there and would have locked everything down and opened up security.
God.
I got a hot 6 for initiative.
Hot 6 for initiative.
That's fine. Cal going later in the order is never a bad thing.
14 for me.
12.
14.
10.
I rolled an 11, and that is plus 1, so 12.
Okay.
Wow, we rolled bad.
Between you and Metal, who has the higher dexterity?
It is.
Let's see.
I think I'll and
mine's
Metal.
14.
Mine is somewhere.
Oh.
It's above all of the like ability check numbers.
Mine is 13. Thank you.
Okay.
Mine is 13.
So Metal is gonna go first, and then I'll afterwards.
Oh no!
Congratulations, Matt.
I mean, just between the two of you. May is going first for the people who have
Oh my
rolled so
God.
far. And
I would
the
like-
giant skeleton.
I mean, the giant skeleton is sealed and like hasn't moved
He's sitting.
so far. So
He's just sitting down.
Hopefully you don't have anything that's gonna really mess him up or release
What were you
him.
gonna say?
Okay, Sinner got a 16.
I was going to say, let's draw a very specific comparison to how Fish and May react to the possibility of information from an unreputable sort.
This is a bad idea. I'm gonna do it anyway.
But on the other hand, it's fun.
But what if it would be really cool